the swamp and talk about one of the grossest bits of drama YouTube has seen in quite some time, with the EDP-445 situation. Last week I made a whole video going over everything, no stone left unturned. I was putting my cock into every briefcase full of information I could find, and now today, only a week later, a lot more has happened, and there's a lot of things that I'd like to follow up on and kind of update, because I streamed all of this, and if you missed the stream, you fucked up, big mistake, you're missing out. And so when I did that, it was still like a developing story, and now we're reaching like the conclusion here, the end of the manga. So I just wanted to go over this because it is a crazy story. The EDP-445 situation is like going to a water park, but all of the water has been exchanged for sewage instead. It's fucking gross and yucky, but it's also kind of a wild ride. Before I get into it though, there's something I want to mention. It's unrelated to all this. Today I'm doing a big charity stream for a charity I'm very passionate about called Cure Rare Disease. It's going to be a massive art stream, so if you want to see more masterpieces like this being made for charity, please tune in. It's at twitch.tv/moistcritical. It'll be going on when this video goes up and will be happening for most of the night, so please feel free to stop by. The link's in the description. I'll just hit you real quick with a brief plot summary here. EDP-445 was a massive YouTuber who got Kris by another group online called Predator Poachers. They pretended to be a 13-year-old girl who hit up EDP, and then the conversation got all sexual, and eventually they got him to try and meet with a 13-year-old girl, and that's when they really caught him in 4K. And there's a lot more to it, obviously. Like, there's even an entire saga here in the anime where EDP sent pictures of his actual shit in a toilet bowl. He sent pictures of that to the 13-year-old girl. Not that that's like super crucial in the story or anything. Like, you know, the FBI is not going to see those shit pictures and be like, well, we fucking got him now. You know, we weren't going to press charges till we saw this awful loaf of shit in the toilet. But it's something that I find to just be so weird and wacky that I can't help but mention it every time I hear or talk about the EDP story. Because I've never even heard of someone like sending shit pics. He also does send dick pics too. He plays by the meta. But the shit pics was truly something innovative. But anyway, that's basically just the story. YouTuber gets Kris and gets caught as a pedophile in a sting operation here by the Predator Poachers. And in most cases, you would expect the person behind this to be someone good looking to do something great for the community, like they did a great act catching a bad person. So you would expect most people would be patting them on the back, you know, patting them on the ass, telling them good game. But you can't really do that for the guy behind Predator Poachers. His name is Alex. And since this big bust, a lot has come out about Alex. It's a lot of awful fucking shit. Half of it I can't even begin to show on YouTube because it is really deplorable stuff. Basically what happened is the Spider-Man meme where both Spider-Men are pointing at each other, but in real life. It was like a cliche scene from an action movie right before the villain dies. He's like, I'm taking you with me. That's what happened. So they bust EDP, but then Alex gets busted as well. Tons of clips surfaced from Alex where he was being extremely racist, dropping the N-word, hard R, homophobia. He was being really creepy to a decoy, asking them to do stuff for him, claiming it was a predator asking. It was really unsettling, disturbing, gross shit. He'd also make jokes about having children in his basement that he fucks. Like, he's a weird, gross fucking guy. And since all of this came out and the story blew up, EDP-445 has been banned off YouTube, and Chet Goldstein has been banned off YouTube. Chet Goldstein was the channel that Alex would use from Predator Poachers for all of the content, and it's unclear whether or not he was banned for all the racism that was on the channel, or really what he was banned for. If I had to spitball a guess, it would probably be all of the fucking racist shit that came out, and a lot of it was on the Chet Goldstein channel. That would be my guess. But I know when I mentioned this during the initial video, a lot of people were mad at me for saying just because the guy behind it's a bad guy doesn't discredit the investigation or the work. And I never said it did. You're just actual stupid brain to think that because this guy is bad, I am now all of a sudden defending EDP. Nobody's doing that. EDP's bad, and so are the people behind it. It was a good thing done by shitty people. It happens. You can still point out the shitty people while still acknowledging the good thing. I don't know why all of a sudden that was controversial to say. And it's still controversial. Like when people point out how awful of a person Chet Goldstein was, people often get met with angry comments saying, who cares? doesn't matter. Being racist isn't as bad as being a pedophile. But I mean, they're both bad, so you can still point them out as bad. Like, you're just fucking dumb. Anyway, let me show you some of the clips, because people were also downplaying the severity of how awful this Chet Goldstein Alex guy was. So let me just show you a little bit. Highly censored, though, because this kind of shit is awful.
Dude, you can't say fucking live stream. It's bad. Dude, then we're gonna get offended and report us.
Oh, you're right.
What the fuck is wrong with you? This guy just said racist creep.
Where are you, black?
Yeah. It's probably a fucking angry n or something.
Oh, you're right.
I don't want to eat anything right now. What the fuck, racist for real? I have a 3-year-old in my basement that's like lacking vitamin D. I provide her with plenty of D, just not the vitamin part.
Oh no, that's not good either.
Oh really?
Not if it's a child.
Well, I was tired of being a virgin, so what the fuck?
Wow.
Yeah. Fucking Nick. Oh shit, I said that in front of 216 people.
Yeah, the guy fucking sucks ass. Like, he's not a good person. He did a good thing, but he's not a good person. You can point out the good thing and also point out that the person is bad. It's not one or the other. It can be both. EDP's bad. Chet Goldstein, Alex, Predator Poachers Alex is bad. Now, there is one thing I'd also like to set the record straight on. The guy that was with Alex when they busted EDP on camera, the guy that was wearing the mask, he is not associated with Alex. That is a completely different person named CC Unit. He is not, like, affiliated with Alex and his shit. He doesn't, like, sign off on it or anything from everything I've seen from the guy. He just happened to collaborate with them on this case, and unfortunately, like a porta potty being rocked back and forth, got caught in the crossfire of shit. Which is unfortunate because, I mean, he was probably a good guy and probably had good intentions. He's been doing this for a lot of years from what I can tell. Whereas Alex was just looking to capitalize and make money off it. He was pumping merch through it. When you went to the website, all it was payment plans for like Predator Poacher merch, and him saying he'll come to your city to do like a stand-up routine and put like a finger in his butthole, smell it and laugh. Like, all Alex wanted was money out of it, and he got like 100,000 subs. He wouldn't even post the video till it got fully monetized. But CC Unit is not affiliated with that. He's completely separate and just happened to be there and collab with him on the day that they busted EDP. So I actually really do feel bad for that guy, assuming that he doesn't have a past like Alex, but from what I've seen, he does seem to just genuinely want to help make the community a better place. Now, don't pump those brakes yet, because this ride is still going. You can't get the fuck out of here. This is Mr. Bones' wild ride. This is a never-ending adventure here. The biggest development is absolutely the authorities getting involved and saying that they are going to look into the case. But they also acknowledge that it could be a bit difficult given that this is not a very well-conducted investigation by people that are less than professional, which is a remarkable understatement. Calling Alex less than professional is like calling a shotgun blast to the chest a minor boo-boo. It just doesn't really do it justice. It doesn't really capture the magnitude of the statement. Now, in the initial video, I showed you a couple different examples. One where the Predator Poachers made it much more difficult for authorities to move in and actually apprehend a pedophile. They said that the investigation was so bad that they couldn't really sanitize it and use it, and it just made it a lot harder for them to actually get charges against the predator. So we've seen examples where the vigilante predator hunters are really counterproductive to getting a pedophile behind bars, but then in the same video I also showed you an example where they were successful and helpful in getting a predator put away for at least a small length of time. So there's really no way to know where this is going to fall, if it's going to be like this investigation just fucked the case in the ass and now all of a sudden EDP isn't going to face any charges, or if this was actually helpful to the case. Overall, like I said in the last video, I think them going public with it isn't inherently a bad thing. Even if they were just trying to use this as like a spectacle for views and money, bringing it to the public eye was probably the right call regardless, because he was a public figure with a public platform, using that platform to prey on kids. So coming public and getting that platform removed from him absolutely was the right call to combating this case in particular. But whether or not that's going to make it harder for authorities to actually put him in jail is what we're going to have to wait to find out. All I know for sure is there are no heroes in this story, but there was a good act done by a bad person. And what a fucking crazy week on YouTube it's been from all this shit. Actually, probably one of the, like, wildest things I've seen on the platform. And yeah, I just wanted to do a little follow-up to it. I don't know if we'll hear any more about EDP and all this, because I imagine from this point forward it's going to be between him and the authorities. So it probably won't be any more, like, public drama stuff on EDP, but who knows. Anyway, just wanted to follow this up. And familiar? This is the same thing I wore last time I took you over my knee and spanked your bottom with some discipline. And I'm happy to report that these are back in stock and a lot more at moistglobal.com. Last time I talked about you, I used you for a merchandise push as well, so might as well stick with tradition. I bet just seeing me in this attire again has just sent you on a full-blown Winter Soldier episode with your eyes rolling into the back of your skull as you're experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder, because the first video I made on you offended you to such a high degree that you have not stopped whining since. It's already been 3 months, can you believe that? How time flies. You started shit with me by insulting me and my girlfriend out of nowhere, so naturally I responded by making fun of you in return, and showcasing the reasons why I don't respect you. But unfortunately I failed to calculate just how much of a sensitive fucking loser you are, because this hurt your feelings to such a high degree it's become like an Armageddon in your brain. 3 months you have continued to melt down about this. The day after I posted my response, he went on stream and had a huge unhinged tantrum and meltdown about the whole thing, and then he sent some of his viewers over. So I was joking with them, saying like, oh, you guys must have just stopped the cuties watch party over there at Sneako's stream, right? Welcome, cucks, that kind of shit. And it got really under his skin in a big way, so he started dancing around with the gun and threatening to come shoot me. So he kept saying, oh, you're in Tampa, right? I'll come see you, waving his gun around and dancing.
You wanna watch my clips? Watch my clips. Watch my clips. You want me to watch your clips? Watch my clips. These are the only clips I'm watching, you were?
Now, the reason he keeps saying watch my clips while threatening me here is because during the stream, I couldn't watch him live because he just kept shouting slurs. So I said, watch my clips to see what I was saying about you. I had to communicate via Twitch clips. And I'm sorry to be that guy, this is like the grammar police of guns, but he's a fucking imbecile, you absolute buffoon. What you have there is not clips. These are mags. They're mags, not clips, you absolute fucking dummy. The same way that this is also a mag. They're all mags. Stop saying clips, you look fucking stupid here. Anyway, sorry for the gun anatomy lesson. He was very upset, so he was threatening to come shoot me, beat me up, all of that, because I hurt his feelings, and it's been festering for quite some time now. 3 fucking months. You love to bitch about how everyone's canceling you. These soy boy NPC bots are all canceling you. It's all you do. You treat the teenagers in your Discord like they're your goddamn therapist. Just going in there to complain about the invisible boogeyman canceling you again, shaking your fist at the clouds. I also love that you treat this Discord server like it's your PR team, so you have them work on your responses on Twitter because you're not witty enough to come up with anything on your own. You have no ability to banter. You can't insult anyone. Anytime you're pushed, all you fall back on is one of 3 things: soy boy, bot, or NPC, and that's it. You never deviate from this path. Which is ironic, because you're like literally a sheep. You have 3 programmed responses. You're like the absolute worst character, side character in an MMO. It's pathetic. But I'm getting sidetracked. You love to be super public about how much you hate antidepressants and you shit on anyone who takes antidepressants, but with the way you talk in your Discord server, I'm pretty convinced that you're only 2 or 3 messages away from asking your community to source antidepressants for you under the table to help with all of this mental anguish you're going through. And I think that'd honestly be a good idea. It might help you. But I'm putting the cart before the horse here. How did we get to this point? Well, I made that video about Sneako, and I fully planned on that being the only time I ever talked about this asshole. I really did. All I wanted to do was highlight why I personally don't respect him. I know a lot of people criticize me for not tackling his points, and to that I say, bah humbug, this fucking goober didn't make any points. All he did was insult me and my girlfriend. He insulted me and my girlfriend because I made fun of one of his friend's blatantly fake stories. He resorted to childish name-calling like, I'm ugly, and I don't go outside. That's not making any points. Like, what am I supposed to debunk there? No, actually, my mom thinks I'm handsome, and so does my girlfriend, so you're wrong, factually wrong. There's nothing to debunk. The whole point of the video was highlighting why I don't respect him. I'll go ahead and briefly give you a previously on Dragon Ball Z lore recap to bring you up to speed on the points I was making for why I think he is a pathetic piece of shit, and his opinion holds no value in my eyes. is because he publicly defends Cuties as one of his favorite movies. Cuties was a Netflix film that used real child actresses in sexual situations, so they sexualized real children. A fact that Sneako himself acknowledges, but writes off as being okay because it's realistic, because in the real world children get sexualized. I'll say it again, regardless of what the intention of the film was, they missed the mark because what ended up happening is they sexualized the child actresses. That is a problem. Full stop. Even if the message was supposed to be the opposite, they still ended up contributing to the very problem they were speaking out against.
I saw Cuties last night and it was pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. I went in ready to hate like everybody else. I saw the cover and I got clickbaited. So did you. You got clickbaited. The thing about Cuties is it's not an unrealistic film. Like, yes, it shows children in a sexual way, but this is not unusual now. And the people who are really mad about this aren't Gen Z.
Imagine claiming children in sexual positions is clickbait. Yikes. That's rough. You admit that the children were sexualized. That is bad. Okay? That means the movie failed in its mission. I don't know what you don't get about that. But regardless, I'm not here to just keep hammering home the same points. Another thing that I talked about for a reason I don't respect him is because he battles with his own sexuality. He is very public about how he used to go to these swinger parties, I think he says 4 in total over the course of like 2 weeks, where he watched his girlfriend get fucked by other men. Even telling the story of how he was literally in the bed watching his girl get fucked by a different man, moaning intensely, and it was traumatizing. Yet he recommends that everyone should try it at some point for some reason.
Because this was, imagine seeing the girl you love, like,
get fucked.
Get fucked.
You love her?
Yeah, I do. I love it. Yeah, I love her. I was about to say I love this bitch. I'm like, nah, let me not say that. I love my wifey, my queen.
And you allowed the love of your life to get fucked by another man.
What happened to the other three? Why that one last?
I'm crazy. The first time, as soon as I saw it, like 3 pumps in, I just got up and walked out. I'm just like, I can't do that. Like, feeling traumatic thoughts, like seeing her with another person. It's a lot. But I think it's something everybody should do just to test. You know what?
So my point with this was, why is this the guy that's lecturing everyone on their relationships, shitting on people's relationships, when he himself is in one that makes him very upset and he can't come to terms with it? Now, if he's open about being a cuck and happy and proud to be a cuck, that's fine. But he's not. It makes him mad every single time. So why the fuck is this insecure guy the one that's the moral authority on healthy relationships all of a sudden? That was the point of me bringing up that clip. Now, that was basically the whole video. I summed it up real quick. All I pointed out is I don't respect his opinion because he defends a movie I consider to be child porn. I think any film or any production that has real children being sexualized should be classified as child porn. That's how I view it. Maybe your definition's different, but that's how I personally view that kind of content. So him defending that was beyond reprehensible to me. And him being very public with his cuckoldry and how scarring it has been, it should be a lesson and an example that he himself is not great when it comes to relationships and all these things. And I posted that and it made him extremely upset and he hasn't stopped fucking crying about it for 3 months. So, fast forward to 2 days ago. I was streaming a Moist Esports tournament and I went up to go to the bathroom. I had to take a shit. It was a double flusher. So I was on the toilet for quite some time and I saw a Sneako post that he's posted quite a few times now and I thought, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not doing anything else right now on the porcelain throne. I'll play in the pig pen. So I did. For 3 months now, Sneako's had this adorable little collage that he made that looks like it's straight out of a 16-year-old girl's diary with pictures of boys from her class that she doesn't like. All about people that have hurt his feelings. This is his wall of shame for people that have insulted him online. What's even sadder about it is he purposely leaves out people that he's afraid of. So Turkey Tom, for example, made a whole video talking about Sneako and how pathetic he is. And Sneako tried to talk a big game to him, even challenged him to a debate, which Turkey Tom accepted with jubilation. He was ecstatic. And then Sneako kept ducking him, ghosting him. So he leaves Turkey Tom off of this list because he's afraid to actually talk to him. And he also leaves off quite a few other people, but the most notable other one that is comical for the absence is Brandon Buckingham. Brandon Buckingham is an internet content creator that Sneako lied about for a long time, and they had a lot of beef, and Brandon Buckingham actually challenged him to a fight. And Sneako is very fearful of him. We'll get into that more in depth in a moment, but I just need to set the stage a little bit here with this collage. So after seeing this for the 100th time in the last 3 months, I finally just said, holy shit, you pathetic, sensitive, soy little worm. I made fun of you for watching your girlfriend get fucked by numerous other men and also insulted you for defending child porn. That's not cancellation. That's just spitting on you for being a pitiful, sad cuck. And this puppy really blew up on Twitter in a big way. Now, I will say it again. What I did, and what I am doing right now, is not canceling you, Sneako. I am insulting you. I am making fun of you. Something that you were supposed to be a huge proponent of, right? Wasn't like one of your big things like bullying needs to be brought back. So now that I'm making fun of you, what, all of a sudden now it's off limits, now it's canceling? You have become the SJWs that you criticize so much. I don't know how you don't realize that. We continue. He says, you know in your soul you would never say that to my face. To which I respond, you literally have a collage of people that hurt your feelings on the internet. You haven't stopped whining about me for months now, you goofy NPC. Even if you beat my ass in a fight, it doesn't change the truth. You're still a cuck who also defends child porn. I think this is important to talk about, and I just talked about it recently. When you are getting your feelings hurt and your immediate response isn't to fire back with insults, jokes, whatever, it's to challenge someone to a fight, you've taken a huge L. You've shown that the person has got under your skin, and the only thing you can resort to is a caveman brain of, I'll beat you in a fight. Sneako, you beating me in a fight doesn't unfuck your girlfriend from the numerous men that had sex with her in front of you. It doesn't do anything. Everything I've said still stands. Nothing changes. It doesn't even salvage your ego. All it is a pathetic fucking attempt at attention. And I don't think you believe half the things you talk about. I really think Sneako just panders as much as possible. He himself doesn't even stand by the things he talks about. I really don't think he has any beliefs of his own. He just echoes what he thinks is going to get him the biggest audience / the most money. That's what I think. So this puffing out his chest of challenging me to a fight is clearly attention. That's what it feels like. Because you don't have the same energy for Brandon Buckingham. Brandon Buckingham is more than willing to fight you any day of the week. But with him, you don't want to do that. For some reason. Why? Do you not stand by your beliefs when it comes to Brandon Buckingham? He has said all the same things about you that I am saying about you. So why is he exempt? Why don't you want to fight him? That's so weird. This is what you said about Brandon Buckingham and fighting him.
And then finally, when Brandon Buckingham is down to meet Sneako, he's there to box him. They're both similar sizes. Sneako would now rather just sit at home and tell jokes behind his computer.
I'd rather sit at home and yell at a camera, tell jokes than, risk my manhood falling flat for Brandon Buckingham, if I lose the fight.
So now it's suddenly cool to just stay at home and keep it all online.
The full video here from Willie Mack is an absolute masterpiece on laying out every pathetic thing that Sneako has ever done, said, or everything ever. So I highly recommend checking it out. I'll put a link to it in the description. It's a banger. So, as you can see, the people he's confident in fighting are ones that he feels confident he'd win against. I'm 5'6". I think he's 6'1". So the height advantage he feels very confident with. And he has every reason to. He would probably beat me in a fight. But like I said, that doesn't change anything. Everything I've said is still true. You are a cuck, self-admitted, and you have defended cuties publicly, which, by more than just me, by many, is considered child porn. You're pathetic. Beating me in a fight doesn't change any of those facts. I've also been super vocal about how I don't want to fight. Like, I'm not afraid to say, I don't want to get hit in the head, right? I'm afraid of taking headshots. It's probably a super normal fear to have, so I'm averse to going into a boxing match, especially one that's just a clout-driven spectacle like this. That'd be completely fucking worthless. And I've been super open about that, which I'm sure you know since you keep saying that you've watched my content, so you probably know that I was never going to accept a fight in the first place. Especially since you're, significantly taller than me, right? It wouldn't make any sense. And even though you would probably beat me in a fight, you're certainly not beating me in an aesthetic physique competition, because goddamn, I blow your ass out of the water. Look at this fucking anime character physique I'm rocking. Meanwhile, you're over here with that Abercrombie and Fitch from 1998. Now, in Sneako's credit, he did start going to the gym recently. Maybe I inspired him, and you know what? That's great. I'm glad I could have a positive impact on your life like that, Sneako. Getting into the gym is a fantastic thing, and you're gonna feel so much better. And I know you'll start seeing results soon as long as you keep at it. And then finally, our last exchange goes very similarly to the others. You're not special from the other 10 soy boys who say the same thing. If you got a problem, stop talking on the internet. Let's solve it. So I said, got your Discord still working on responses? Brother, I have no problem. You started it and I made fun of you in return. You're upset about publicly admitting to cuckoldry and get mad at me for bringing it up. You should be mad at yourself instead. Have some self-reflection. which it's true, I don't have a problem. You literally started it, Sneako, and you even asked your audience to let me know everything you said and send me your clips. You actually asked for a response, and then got super upset when my response was a little too mean to your feelings. How is that not the ultimate cuckoldry? Like, even more so than your girl getting clapped by 1,000 men. How? Like, how can you, with a straight face, still call other people soy boys? I'm not kidding, I really didn't want to keep talking about you, but you won't stop talking and crying about me. It's sad. I understand you have a humiliation fetish, so hopefully this whole thing has helped you orgasm one more time from all of it. I don't think it's fun dunking on you, Sneako. I don't. And I'm certainly not canceling you. But you keep doing this. So you forced my hand to make fun of you again. But anyway, it doesn't need an introduction. I don't need to read the Wikipedia article explaining to you who he is and lore dumping. I'm sure most of you are at least loosely familiar with his content. He's been very large on the platform for years now. And recently, some disturbing allegations have come out against him. Now, the allegations against him aren't exactly brand new. They're not, fresh off the battle bus, hot drop in here out of nowhere. They've actually existed for a little while now, but never actually received a lot of coverage or a lot of attention. Kind of just been sidelined with people not knowing about it or not talking about it until yesterday when another YouTuber named D'Angelo Wallace gave some amazing coverage breaking down the entire situation here and going over everything that Cody Co is accused of.
Someone has been alleging for years now that you, one of the largest commentary creators on YouTube, knowingly committed a crime against her when she was a minor. But YouTubers and viewers alike are ignoring and discrediting these allegations solely because the person making them happens to be an unlikable woman online, Tana Mojo.
Yikes. Yeah, that's some pretty awful shit right there. That's a huge allegation that actually has a lot of evidence backing it up, which D'Angelo Wallace covers in great detail in this video. It's not some imaginary nothing burger that someone squeaked out between their butt cheeks to try and ruin Cody Co. It's a serious accusation that appears to have a lot of evidence about it.
I'm not here to accuse you of committing a crime in this video because I can't do that based on someone else's allegations. Nobody can definitively take these allegations as proof, but at the same time, they should still be looked at and not treated as an open secret and swept under the rug like you've been doing for so many years now.
I think that's a great point. Even though these are still allegations with nothing that's been proven, since there is so much supporting evidence around the claims, it definitely is something that needs to be examined thoroughly because it is a huge deal.
And speaking of this podcast, about a month ago, she hosted a live episode in front of an audience, and the conversation turned to you.
Who's the smallest you've ever had sex with? Oh my god, did no one look at me, Cody Co. I can say that. I was literally 17, I can say that.
This clip started making the rounds and people were understandably perturbed because if Tana Mojo was 17, you would have been 25. So people started speculating and Tana decided to set the record straight.
I hooked up with Cody Co when I was 17 and he was 25.
I'm going to go ahead and break down these numbers here because it seems like people are starting to struggle with math, like teriology starting to pop off with 1 × 1 = 2 and all that. I'm just going to go ahead and explain this. 17 is less than 18. Thus, that is below the age of consent and is a crime. And I already have seen comments on this situation about 17, who gives a fuck? That's basically 18 anyway. And it's this same dog shit, brain dead, concerning mentality, like your hard drive needs to be investigated type shit that we saw with Dr. Disrespect, where they're like, no one should really care that Dr. Disrespect was talking inappropriately with a 17-year-old. Even though, once again, you absolute fucking Cro-Magnon, there is no evidence that Dr. Disrespect ever talked to a 17-year-old. Not even he said that. It had only ever been stated as a minor. Everyone around Dr. Disrespect never mentioned 17. It's actual delusional Fantasyland Narnia type shit where people are trying to defend him by saying it was actually a 17-year-old, 364 days old. Which is absolute fucking barnacles. Like, that's a load of fish paste. And even still, it's bad. I don't know how we've devolved so much where all of a sudden 17 is now something people try and justify. So like in this case right here, you'll have some drooling, stinky, bumbling morons in the comments saying how it's not a big deal because 17 shouldn't be an issue. You know, like, age of consent over in this region is actually 16, so really, he waited till she was old. Like, it's craziness. It's actually craziness. It is a crime. It is a minor. Still, it's bad. Like, I don't know why that needs to be explained all of a sudden. Now, something D'Angelo Wallace does make a point of here is pointing out that Tana Mongeau is not well liked. I'm sure if you've been on YouTube for any length of time, you've heard her name and seen a lot of less than stellar things about her. She has a history of lying and putting on a lot of bad stuff and bad behavior. However, when it comes to this claim, this doesn't appear to be something that she's just lying about for clout to try and elevate her platform on the back of Cody Ko's good name or anything like that. This is a story that's been told even a few years in the past about this situation here. So this isn't something that she just pulled out of thin air. This is actually an allegation that has existed for a long time that is only just now starting to surface.
She claims that not only were you fully aware of her age at the time, but someone even tried to stop you and you went ahead anyway.
There was a situation with Gabby Hanna at a Playlist Live where she pulled him aside and told him like, yo, she's 17. And then we still went and hooked up.
To be clear, 17 is under the age of consent in many states, including Florida, where Playlist Live used to take place. So this means that Tana Mongeau is accusing you of statutory rape, and she's not trying to hide that.
This isn't just some crazy tea. It was a crime.
Remember how Tana said that fellow YouTuber Gabby Hanna tried to stop you before everything allegedly went down? Well, did you know that Gabby is actually on record telling the exact same story several years ago?
One time, I told a guy, I saw him making out with a girl at a party who was underage, and I pulled him aside and I was like, hey man, you probably don't know, I know she like looks a little older, she's underage, watch it. And he's like, oh my God, thank you for telling me. And then he turned that.
This is really, really bad.
Really, really bad indeed. Pardon my potty mouth here, but this is fucking disgusting. Like, this is by far the most compelling piece of evidence presented because this is a completely separate third-party individual coming forward now with the same story years ago. Exactly how Tana described it. Finding this clip was huge. I don't even know how it was unearthed. Huge props for finding this ancient artifact because apparently it had been scrubbed from like everywhere. I don't even know how you would have even gone about finding something like this, but I really think it is an important piece to this story. It's a very strong piece of evidence, and it should hopefully showcase that this isn't just something Tana is making up on the spot for attention or anything like that. This is something that has been talked about for years. There's a lot of comments that get shown in the video with people shitting on Tana for bringing this up, like, oh, this is prehistoric. Why would you ever bring this up now? You just want attention, you absolute harpy. Oh, who cares? This is bullshit. It's all a lie anyway. All you do is lie. Liar, liar, plants for hire. You harlot. Those kind of comments, like unhinged people about this. And I really think that this Gabby Hanna clip that's been provided should shut that garbage down. Of course, it doesn't prove 100%, the authenticity of everything. As D'Angelo Wallace also explains, these are still allegations. But that is a pretty substantial piece of evidence there that should at least show why this needs to be talked about and should absolutely be addressed directly by Cody.
People make accusations all the time, specifically regarding things that are very difficult to prove or disprove, unfortunate as that may be. But when somebody makes an allegation and they say they have a witness, and that witness can be found telling the exact same story years before any of this came out, that's not something I can just ignore. In a situation that cannot be proven, corroboration by a third party goes a long way. I'm not accusing you of committing a crime, but even if what Tana says is false, your silence is still grossly incompetent at best.
It really is a pretty bad strategy here. This isn't something John Madden would draw up in the playbook. Burying his head in the sand and hoping that the storm blows through doesn't exactly work in a situation like this. I mean, I guess it has up till this point since so few people were aware of it, but now that it's being talked about more and more, I do think that he's going to need to come forward about all of it. There is quite a bit of time in the video dedicated to the community's response to the allegations because it is bad how, viewers have responded to all of this. Basically, and it is a good point that D'Angelo Wallace made, because Tana Mongeau is widely disliked by the broader YouTube audience, when she was the one putting these claims out there, people attacked her, dogpiled her for saying things like this. They jumped on her like she had just killed a puppy in front of them. Like, people responded to her in the worst possible way with these allegations. And Tana made a really good point where she said if this was any other YouTuber she was talking about, one that wasn't as highly regarded as Cody, the response would be completely different, where she'd be getting sympathetic messages and support for coming forward with her experience. But because it's Cody, it's been a biblical smackdown in the comments against her, which is just like a crazy response to something like this. I mean, there were some lunatics there, like genuinely hateful people saying like the most misogynistic shit you could find in the comment section about this because she dared come forward with her experience and talk about that situation. Now again, yes, they are allegations. Nothing has been proven, but there is a lot of evidence here that should at the very least get a response from Cody Co about all of this. And it's not like he's not aware of what's happening. As pointed out in this video, he is seemingly censoring his YouTube comment section.
And now you're choosing censorship. On your YouTube channel, where you've been pumping out content nearly every day now, I couldn't find a single comment on your last video about this situation. Not even one. Comparing that to the comment section on your Instagram, where every single comment I saw was about this, it's clear that you're heavily censoring your audience on YouTube.
I actually went and checked this myself because this is a Lego build that you can follow along with at home. I went to his latest upload and clicked newest in the comment section because surely you'd see some now after this is being blown up into a huge story. But even when filtering on his newest upload by newest comments, I still only found a couple of comments that referenced this. So it really does seem like it's being heavily censored in the YouTube comments. Because with how big the story is, you would expect a lot of them, especially when you look at his Instagram. But somehow, nothing on YouTube? Yeah, that's very suspicious. That definitely smells like he is censoring the comments there. So it's not like he doesn't know what's going on here. Tana also said that he had reached out at some point kind of about this, saying like, are we good? So it's not something that he's just unaware of, and that's why he hasn't addressed it. D'Angelo Wallace also points out how he's responded to things in the past, like he paywalled an apology for like an old clip that surfaced where he was using a slur. So he's talking about like the history of responding poorly to situations that Cody finds himself in. And then he brought up this, which I'd never heard of.
Not many people know that you've already lost fans over an eerily similar topic. You used to frequently feature and promote your college friend Colby Leachman in your videos, until it came out that during your school days, Leachman's university put him on probation for, as a United States District Judge would later put it, the non-consensual videotaping of a sex act with another student, showing the video to other people, lying to the police about the video, and behaving horribly to that individual and at least one other woman. To make matters worse, the woman in the video also alleged that Leachman drugged her before the recording and that she hadn't actually consented to anything at all. You had this man in your videos. You were telling us to follow him on Instagram, and at some point you did wise up, so he's no longer part of your content, but he still seems like he's very much a part of your friend group. From the continued hangout since then to inviting him to your wedding just last year, people are under the impression that you're best friends with someone who, at best, committed an illegal sex act and at worst is an alleged rapist. And no matter how many times people rediscover this information over the years, you refuse to say anything at all.
That is baffling to me. Like, it's one thing to be friends with someone who turns out to be a monster, but once you learn that they're a monster, that's where it should stop. I've said this before. If my best friend Matt turned out to have like a secret double life, a Jekyll and Hyde situation where Matt goes out there and he does something truly heinous, I would cut them out of my life. I wouldn't be able to go forward being friends with someone like that. Giving him a fist bump saying, hey, we're still bubble buddies, bro. Like, I couldn't do that. So it's so weird to me that Cody can, and when people have talked about it in the past, apparently Cody has just ignored it. That is very, very odd.
I haven't seen a single channel over 1 million subscribers do so much as acknowledge that this situation exists. And I'm not talking about channels that never would have discussed something like this either. I mean the same channels that were rightfully calling out people like Dr. Disrespect for texting a minor, which are the same channels that are now completely ignoring a scenario with an even bigger creator being accused of doing something much worse.
D'Angelo Wallace makes a point a couple times in this video about the silence on this subject being staggering, considering in the YouTube ecosystem there's tons of commentary channels that'll cover a wide variety of topics, sometimes rumors, that aren't nearly this serious, you know, like a 2-part docuseries on that time Markiplier allegedly pooped without peeing. Or, in my case, I'll make a whole rant going over how aliens probably aren't visiting us via theoretical warp drives to haunt our boners. And yet, somehow, a story that's this serious just slips through the cracks and didn't have many people talking about it until very recently. So I'd like to at least take a quick moment here to explain why I hadn't covered it. Now, I did hear the whispers about this Cody Co allegation about a week ago now, where someone in stream chat had mentioned, hey, have you heard what Cody Co apparently did with Tana Mojo? And on stream I asked what they were talking about because I hadn't heard shit about that. Eventually another chatter explained that I could find more information about it on Reddit because a conversation was starting to develop around those allegations, so I made like a note of it and then went to bed. The following day I got home pretty late and then went to follow up on things from the previous night, because sometimes during stream I'll make like tabs about what people are telling me to look up. I don't do react content on stream or anything anymore, so if it's like a video that people are recommending I check out to get caught up on something or whatever, I'll make a tab for that video and then watch it when I get back to the following day. And when it came to the Cody Co thing with the Reddit post, by the time I got to it, it was deleted. So I kind of assumed that maybe the claims were just baloney, and I didn't see a whole lot of chatter about it. I saw a couple of tweets that loosely talked around it, vaguely, and I just didn't look into it deeper than that. And I recognize now that that was a mistake, so I'm sorry for that. But I just didn't find a lot of information at the time, until, of course, last night when D'Angelo Wallace posted the video covering all of this. So I know the speculation has been made that the reason people aren't talking about the Cody Co situation is because he's a channel that a lot of people respect and is friends with a lot of the community. So no one wants to speak out against their friend or a channel that they respect so much, thus they're trying to help, you know, bury it or not let it, you know, erupt into the mainstream. For me, that wasn't the case. When I went looking for the info after that stream, I didn't find anything, and I didn't do a big enough dive on it to access it, so I just kind of stopped looking, which again was a mistake, clearly. I've talked about Cody Co's content in the past. I've liked his content. I respected him as a content creator, but I'd never say that we were friends or anything. I went on his podcast one time, and I think we only ever talked in Twitter DMs once as well. We weren't exactly like inseparable friends, you know, the best of pals and buddies or anything. Like, I imagine if we walked by each other in a crowded mall, we'd do one of these to each other, and that'd probably be the end of it. This isn't some kind of story that I was avoiding or anything like that. I just truly didn't do enough digging on it because, as D'Angelo Wallace does mention, this story has been pretty successfully buried for the most part, where a lot of people just weren't aware of it, and I didn't do due diligence to become aware of it. But luckily, D'Angelo Wallace did, and created this great video going over all of it. So I wanted to talk about this because obviously it's a very serious situation. Cody Co absolutely should come forward to explain all of it, and if there is another side to this story, tell it. If it's wrong, set the record straight. It's a very upsetting story here that at the very least needs to be addressed by Cody publicly. This can't be another paywalled apology situation or anything like that. This should definitely be something that he comes forward and actually talks about. So yeah, that's really want to talk about today's topic. It's just some medium rare internet beef that I think is just kind of worthless to go over, but so many people keep bringing it up to me that I feel I should at least talk about it to some extent. So I'll go ahead and cannonball into the septic tank and doggy paddle around for a bit. The main topic involves a banned YouTube creator that I'm sure you've all heard of before. His name is Sneako. A lot of people compared him to like a diet Andrew Tate. He recently got banned, and he still does make content elsewhere. And recently he started targeting me because I made jokes about his friends on the Fresh and Fit podcast, whom I think are beautiful clowns that do some very silly stuff that is entirely entertaining to make fun of. But Sneako didn't see it that way because he's a very sensitive guy, and he started writing their wieners to try and defend a blatantly outrageous story that one of them told about meeting a basketball player at a party, then being invited by that basketball player to a mansion, and then fucking a ton of girls at that mansion thanks to the basketball player, which sounds like something a Tumblr account would have made up, and ending with, and everybody clapped. It was such a goofy piece of fan fiction, it felt like he was begging to be humiliated and made fun of, so I started throwing some balls at the clown and dunking them in the tank. I made a video talking and joking about it, and Sneako saw this and he wasn't too happy, so he got offended on his friend's behalf, which of course is a very alpha male thing to do. I know Sneako doesn't like that nomenclature, he never calls himself an alpha male and thinks that it belittles him, but his fan base is and has been red-pilled and thinks of him as like a no-nonsense kind of guy who tells it like it is, a man's man. And yet Sneako cries more than a 12-year-old going through puberty and has very public temper tantrums like a child who didn't get the Spider-Man toy they wanted for Christmas. So he was upset because I was making fun of them. He then makes a big rant about me, calling me a bitch, saying all kinds of things. He doesn't really make any points, he just insults my appearance a lot and makes very bold assumptions about me not going outside and shit like that, which of course has nothing to do with anything I was saying, nor does it debunk any of my points. Not that I was even really making points, I was just making jokes about a silly fucking story, and he's taking it as if I just gave a TED Talk on monogamy, because for some reason he somehow gets lost in like this Winter Soldier episode, like this delusional fantasy, where he starts making a statement on monogamy, which of course had nothing to do with the video I made.
I'm not gonna say names. Someone texted me. He's in a monogamous relationship. This is his girl. So there you go. I mean, I told you, like, I could hear it in your voice. The fact that someone doesn't have to abide by those rules. Someone could go and fuck a lot of bitches. That it's so foreign to a lot of people's ideas, because when you get brainwashed, when you get told that monogamy is the answer.
What the fuck are you even talking about? What does this have to do with anything? What does bringing up a picture of me and my girlfriend have anything to do with anything that has happened? And where is monogamy even coming from? You're fighting an invisible enemy right now. You're fighting ghosts that aren't real. Like, none of this had anything to do with the video itself of me joking about a stupid fucking story that this guy told. Like, it's so weird, and he's been mad ever since, as I understand it. I, of course, don't really watch him, but I keep getting updates on Sneako not being happy, wiggling his finger saying, I don't really like this Charlie guy anymore for this. Now, like I said, because so many people keep bringing this up to me every day, I felt obligated to at least, you know, talk about this a little bit and engage with the drama, even though I don't really want to. What I do want to talk about, though, is the Black Friday Moist Global merch sale, baby. A lot of great merch on moistglobal.com is a lot of money off right now, so go to moistglobal.com to get some fucking beautiful items, and we even have some really fun, goofy ones that are in stock right now, such as this wonderful Happy Coat, which is kind of like a bathrobe. It's fantastic. And we also have some Yu-Gi-Oh! Inspired designs available right now as well, which are just fun items, and once all of these are sold out, they won't be restocked, so if you're at all interested, go to moistglobal.com, the link's in the description. I'm gonna keep this on for the rest of the video. The only thing I'm missing now is a cigar, to really get into character here. I'm gonna go ahead and talk a little bit more about this. I am pretty familiar with Sneako, probably more so than a lot of his more modern fan base is. I first became aware of his content when he got mad at me a couple years ago because I was criticizing a movie called Cuties. For those that don't know, Cuties was a movie that went to Netflix, and it was basically just softcore child porn. It was a movie that focused on twerking and a coming-of-age film that used real children in real positions of, like, sexualization, where during, like, a twerking contest, they'd have cameras that would go, like, right into their ass and zoom in. It was fucking disgusting stuff. And I made a whole video talking about how fucked up it is that not only does it exist, but Netflix has promoted it and it's on their service. Regardless of what the intention was or what the message aimed to deliver from the director, it completely missed the mark. By using real child actors and doing the things that they did in the film, it became a movie that was only enjoyed by legitimate, real, self-admitted pedophiles. And I made a video talking about how gross that whole situation was, and Sneako made a response to it saying that the outrage around this film is misplaced, and it's actually a good movie.
Americans are like, this is deplorable. I saw this commentator, Penguinz0, who I actually like. There's not a lot of good commentators, but he's like, this movie is deplorable. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing. And it's like he didn't even watch the movie. It's just like he only saw the clips that were gonna piss him off. Or he just got so triggered by the provocative imagery that he just, deplorable. Come on, man. Like, don't you see the reasons why she's doing what she's doing?
Sneako has said multiple times, even in his most recent rant, that he does like my content, though I'm pretty sure he just says that to cushion the blow and, like, tiptoe around it, like, before insulting me. Just in case there's anyone in his chat that likes my content, he wants to make sure to not make them upset, so he makes sure to preface it by saying, well, I actually do like him, but... and then goes on to get super personal about it. This was my first real exposure to Sneako, and it's also the reason I don't care what his opinion is of me, because it's coming from a man who likes cuties. So why the fuck would it matter if he thinks I'm a bitch or anything like that? It legitimately couldn't mean less coming from a guy who openly defends a softcore child porn production.
Okay, if I ever wanted to get canceled, this is the video. I saw Cuties last night and it was pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. I went in ready to hate like everybody else. I saw the cover and I got clickbaited. So did you got clickbaited. The thing about Cuties is it's not an unrealistic film. Like, yes, it shows children in a sexual way, but this is not unusual now. And the people who are really mad about this aren't Gen Z.
Now, the reason I'm showing this isn't just to debate a multiple-year-old Sneako video that he completely ate shit on and had the worst possible take of with this whole cutie situation. The reason I'm showing this is because I haven't liked him since I saw this side of him. I was aware that he made other content, and apparently some of it was pretty good a couple years back, but once I saw this video, it just showed me a really weird guy who it seemed like really just wanted to be contrarian for the sake of it and makes terrible points in defense of this film for some reason. Like, even in your own video, you openly admit right there that yes, it sexualizes children. Full stop, that's not okay. That's a problem.
Like, this girl, at one point, she takes a picture of her vagina and posts it on Instagram. Kids naturally just rebel. I like this movie because it's extremely provocative, but it's realistic. A major criticism of this film was that it's child porn, that they were just showing these kids and that it's gonna bring a bunch of pedophiles in. I don't think so. I don't think so. Not more than anything else that's on the internet now, or not more than beauty pageants in America, which still exist and are exactly what you see in the film.
Do you go to beauty pageants to watch the kids, Sneako? I certainly hope not. Just because the beauty pageants, which are fucked up, completely agree, just because those exist in the real world doesn't mean that that's justification for this movie. I feel like that should be obvious. You can't use this whataboutism like, oh yeah, Cuties has a lot of sexualization of children, but what about, you know, child beauty pageants? I mean, those are out there in the real world, so what's wrong with Cuties being on Netflix? I won't show you any more from this video, it's dog shit all across the board, but there is one more thing I'd like to highlight. Even when Sneako started to rise to popularity, I didn't pay too much attention because, again, in my mind, he will always be that guy that for some reason fights for this film, which is just fucking weird. So he's always just been kind of a weird person to me that I don't pay too much attention to, but I couldn't help but take notice of one of his more recent viral clips where he openly defends getting cucked.
So I wanted to break this down, like, because this was, imagine seeing the girl you love, like,
get fucked.
You
love her?
Yeah, I do. I love her. I was about to say I love this bitch. I'm like, no, let me not say that. I love my wifey, my queen.
And you allowed the love of your life to get fucked by another man.
What happened to the other agreement? Why that one didn't last?
I'm crazy.
The first time, as soon as I saw it, like 3 pumps in, I just got up and walked out. I'm just like, I can't do that. Like, feeling traumatic thoughts, like seeing her with another person. It's a lot. But I think it's something everybody should do just to test. You know what?
It is a legitimately super sad thing to sit there and listen to because Sneako is very clearly bothered by that whole situation, but is trying to play it off like a deeper message, like, no, this is actually a good thing, and in fact, I recommend every guy out there try letting their girl get fucked by another man. Then you'll know if it's real, if this is the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. It is fucking tragic to listen to. Now, I want to be clear, I have absolutely no problem with open relationships. I think everyone should be completely within the right to handle their relationships however they see fit and whatever makes them happiest. Contrary to what Sneako thinks about me, I have legitimately no issue with open relationships at all. But what Sneako's talking about here isn't so much an open relationship, it's cuckoldry. You have watched your girl get fucked in front of you on at least 2 occasions that he talks about here. And you were right next to her, watching her get fucked, and one time you were so upset about it you had to leave the room after the 3rd pump, you said. You're clearly not really alright with this situation. You're for some reason forcing yourself to be okay with it. Like, I'm not trying to sit here and be an armchair psychologist like you try to do against me during your rants, but it really seems like you don't like it. And yet, for some reason, you're also trying to celebrate it and promote it like a good thing. It's just super sad. Like, if you're fucking other girls and she's fucking other guys, that's one thing, but you being in the same bed that she is fucking another man in and watching her, and then even talking about how, like, upset you were about how much she was moaning and the deep eye contact she was making with the man she was fucking in front of you, like, you're not really okay with it, it sounds like. So stop trying to pretend to be, and stop trying to make it seem like this is a good, healthy thing for everyone that everyone needs to try. It's just pretty sad. So this is always in the back of my mind when he starts critiquing my relationship, or really any relationship for that matter. Like, what really gives you the right, especially when you're clearly in a very complicated situation in your own mind with your relationship? So, like I said, I didn't really want to talk about this, but he apparently keeps shitting on me and making a big hoopla about it, and people keep bringing it up to me, so I felt like I should at least address it in some capacity. So this is me talking about it, and that from back in the day. Spin around in front of your bathroom mirror 3 times saying her name and she'll appear and steal your soul or something. That was never real, but what is real is if you stand up and spin around 3 times in front of your computer screen saying Star Citizen's name, it'll appear and steal your money. Even just invoking its name probably sent people into a sweaty, frenzied panic. Over 14 years in development and over $1 billion in crowdfunding, by the way, and it's still not complete, nor is it even close to tinkering around with the notion of being complete, and it's still a broken mess. This is a game that I still loosely pay attention to, keep my finger on the pulse of, because it is just a fascinating environment, because it has these ups and downs where it ebbs and flows, where the community is sometimes very happy with like an update that gets rolled out, then another update comes out and it completely ruins everything, where it's an unplayable, irredeemable mess that is just rife with greed. There are just so many like very scummy practices Star Citizen gets away with, and it is just a wild ride every time I tune in to the latest happenings in this soap opera. And today I saw Kira uploaded a video called Star Citizen's Disaster Livestream, and this has to be up there with one of the wackiest moments I've seen from Star Citizen's development hell.
Context: they've just played an unscripted version, like an unscripted playthrough of a mission in the game for an hour and a half, roughly. It's been really bad. It's broken. It doesn't work. They're really passively, aggressively interacting with each other because of how broken it is and how frustrating it is. And this is how they end the stream. They've just wiped and just watch.
Yeah, we have to respawn and go back, right?
The awkward.
We might well be locked out here now on this build. Wait, well.
At this point, we're at time, guys.
Yeah. Oh, right, fair enough. We lost.
Wow. So, we're at time. It's your show. Wrap it up.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Those words are like venom leaving his mouth. Big Boss comes in. It's your show. Wrap it up. That's like the slogan to Star Citizen, to be honest. That basically puts a whole bow on the entire project here. $1 billion, 14 years in this developmental hellscape. I was in high school when this started, by the way. Like, holy shit. And then on stream in front of everyone, hitting him with that mic drop, throwing him under the bus, putting him on the spot to, like, really awkwardly send it out after this complete disaster. It feels like everybody at the company hates each other. That's what it seems like. Like you're just working with your worst enemies. It's a nearly 2-hour montage of bugs that completely halt progression and them just getting frustrated at each other's throats. Like, it is more somber than a funeral. This is like a 2-hour humiliation ritual, and it feels like it's the first time any of them have ever even played the game. And it is, like, I can't express enough. It is buggier than fucking Ride to Hell Retribution. And it is felt throughout the entirety of it. They keep getting more and more hostile to one another and keeps building to this crescendo of, like, toxicity amongst them. All of it just unfolding live here. And keep in mind, this is supposed to be a showcase of what it looks like with the makeup on. Like, this is optimal settings for them. This is, like, supposed to be... This is what it can reach. This is what it can look like when we're done polishing it, getting it fixed. This is what it looks like. And then bang, it can't even work under the most ideal of circumstances for their own live stream to promote it. It's fucking wild. And I can't express enough just how much they seem to hate each other.
I'll play it for you.
So, Twitch chat, I'm going to ask you a question. How, obviously this is in PTU, you guys can play this, you know, what's your average time that you get through this and what's your experience? We were talking before how long it's going to take us with our impeccable skill, as you've all seen.
Ollie, you've just fully opened up to them being like, oh, can't time it because it don't fucking work.
Well, you can
we
time
know it doesn't, we're working on it, but they're going to say it, you know they are.
Twitch chat isn't going to hurt you, Elliot. It's okay. You'll be fine. Relax. We are just here to discuss and enjoy and share development. Yeah. That's what we're here for.
Knight Rider is going to have his work cut out for him.
Oh, I'm done.
That is such a weird response to that. He's trying to, like, engage with the community while all this is going on, and then having another developer dogpile on top of him like he's trying to recover a fumble. Like, what was the goal there? Like, he's trying to, like, ask questions and, like, talk with chat and be, like, somewhat useful. And then one of the other devs he's playing with is basically just biting his head off for it and, like, fighting him on it. And this bickering is happening constantly. Like, it's a lot of team killing, a lot of, like, passive-aggressive, snide remarks. It's so weird because this isn't like, you know, CCTV footage here that got leaked. This was a planned stream. Did they not think that maybe they should be friends first and have some kind of chemistry, or even at the very least enjoy each other's company before publicly putting themselves out there with this product that also didn't work at all, by the way? But it's made it even worse having to watch and listen to all of this arguing and hostility between them. Like, it made me so uncomfortable just going through the lowlights here of this stream. It felt like I was at my friend's house watching his parents fight in front of me.
This guy has convinced them to all that they've done here, bear in mind, is show the game as it currently works on an internal dev build in the most perfect scenario possible. And the game is so broken still under the most ideal circumstances that everyone is pissed that this guy has convinced them to show the world how broken the game is.
It cannot be overstated just how outrageous it is that even under the most ideal of circumstances here, this is fucking Ultra Instinct mode build for Star Citizen, this is still how functional it is. And that's what they're showing. This was an unscripted playthrough of it, as it currently is, under the best possible conditions you could manufacture, and it was unplayable garbage. And now the guy who proposed it here is getting completely spanked by not only his peers, but also the higher-ups there at the food chain, who are all very upset that this is how this is now happened live in front of their whole community.
I want to reiterate something we said at the beginning of the show. We are keenly aware of the instancing technology performance-related problems on the PTU right now. We see it.
The PTU being the public test realm, basically.
It's why the content was delayed from its original July release to August. It's why it's still not out. We're very, very aware, as you are, as we are, everybody's are, to have a live stream today where we just show what we're already very aware, and you're seeing the same thing you can see on any number of Twitch streams, doesn't really serve much purpose. What we decided to do today is show you the intended design, show you the intended purpose, show you the goal, show you how it's supposed to work once the issues with instancing are resolved. We thought that was a much more valuable use of our time.
So this live stream was showing you how it's supposed to work.
And man, did they ever show us how it was supposed to work. A glorious demonstration. Greener pastures right around the corner. It's so close. And in classic Star Citizen fashion, it's coming. No doubt about it. And when it's there, it's going to be perfect. billion, baby, worth every penny. So he goes on to elaborate that in context, he believes they were referring to like the ability to even play it in the first place, to like get into the mission based on like the comments and stuff. But I think what they really wanted to show is how it can look under optimal conditions, like once it's fully fixed. But even under optimal conditions, it is nowhere near being playable. And it's already been like delayed, apparently, which is, again, classic Star Citizen. It's just such a disaster. Holy fuck. It is the gift that keeps on giving, and the only gift it's giving is coal every Christmas to the people that put their hard-earned clams into this project.
I happen to have a med gun on my down, but I hope I don't cause a party.
So I can't heal anyone, just letting you guys know.
Just loot my body.
No, because I'm down as well now.
Max.
Max, no pressure.
Lock in,
Time
Max.
to clutch.
Guys, I can't read
We're
my
gonna
gun.
die.
It's broken. Help.
Alright. No, I'm just, you carry on.
No, I can't. My guns are messed up. They're struggling.
Just, yeah.
Oh, I'm stupid.
You chilling, Ollie?
For a while, guys.
You can't handle their strongest potions. I saw bugs in this demonstration I haven't seen in any other game. And I play like actual Steam dumpster trash constantly. It is wild, the poor state that Star Citizen is, even under the best conditions for things like this. It's just a catastrophe, man. And it still blows my mind that they even did this stream in the first place, that they were convinced that this would be a good look or a good idea to showcase it. It really does feel like they've never even touched the game. Because if they did for even just 15 minutes is all it would have taken to know that this is unplayable and unpresentable. That this is a apocalyptic nightmare scenario if we were to broadcast this to the community that has invested over $1 billion into this 14-year-long, never-ending development cycle on this fucking game. Like, how would they not know? How would they not see all of the glaring issues? They literally couldn't even complete the content. And again, I can't stress this enough. Why do they have such horrible chemistry amongst each other? Like, they really do not like. I had more of a positive experience in public Xbox Live lobbies at the end of a heated round of Search and Destroy with people screaming into the mic than these four do playing with each other and working together. It's like when you take a dog to a dog park and like some of the other dogs just don't get along with it, so they start barking at each other. It's so weird.
There was a thread that made me laugh on the Star Citizen subreddit because people have been posting very negatively on there lately, which is funny to see, saying happy 10-year anniversary to Squadron 42 being completed. On July 22nd, 2016, a senior QA dev at CIG stated that he played through every level of Squadron 42. Happy 10-year anniversary. Only 2 more years of polishing, folks, while you wait buying Idris, which is obviously a tongue-in-cheek joke, to go and spend money in the cash shop because, don't worry, it's definitely coming.
I had completely forgotten how long it had been for Squadron 42 as well, which is another CIG game that is now celebrating its 10 years of being complete, but just not quite ready for release. They still drop teasers on this every now and then. I watch every single one. It looks okay. Like, it looks fine from the little tidbits that we get fed. I don't think it looks like anything groundbreaking, but even that, which is just like a single player like experience, like a story driven experience, even that is 10 years late. And I didn't even remember them saying that they had completed it 10 years ago. They played every mission, and yet a decade later it's still not here. That sounds like a lie. Did you complete every mission? Does anyone at CIG play the games that they're working on is my big question now.
People are, of course, posting the quality quote by Chris Roberts in March of 2015. By the end of this year, backers will have everything they pledged for, plus a lot more.
I'm down.
Are you both down? I'm trying to get to Max.
Down?
I'm not. Is everyone down apart from me?
No, I'm up. I'm up.
Oh, you're up. Okay.
Hey guys, so at this point, 2 of you are down.
Devs that I've left to die.
Ollie.
Left to die.
Elliot, you gonna pick up your buddies?
I'm on my way.
You gonna pick up your buddies?
Doing it.
We're trying.
All right. So while they're attempting to resurrect their fallen comrades.
Well,
oh, you're not attempting.
I'm not attempting.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
The thing is,
an enemy.
so
while they're attempting,
to be honest,
ain't that the fucking truth? They are getting everything that they were promised and so much more. Look at all that awesome gameplay from the stream. Like, I can't stress enough how unbelievably awful the stream was and how uncomfortable it was. So you have him begging, like, hey, guys, you gonna pick up your buddies? You gonna pick up your buddies? Like, almost ASMRing it. Like, it reminds me of, like, almost like PBS programming at this point. Like, hey, about your buddies, you gonna pick them up? Please? Like, it dawned on everyone how awful this was, but they just couldn't bring themselves to pull the plug until, you know, it became actually impossible to progress any further at all, and it was just kaput. But man, it was torturous.
What did you think of Siege? Good time. I enjoyed it. The cinematics, the immersion was good. Yeah. Jared, you say goodbye, or you say goodbye? No? Okay. Luke?
You can see it. I'm super proud of what these guys are doing here, and you know it's help us get this out. Help us get this out so that you can have the same experience that we had today.
Fucking cinema, man! Like, oh, it's just a beautiful train wreck of a stream, man. I love that. Do you want to come say goodbye? No, you don't. Me? Yeah, I continue to just get here, fucking slapped around. Okay, yep. Don't want to say goodbye. Okay, yep. And then the other guy coming up. So yeah, a lot of good work here. Really excited. So you get to have the same experience that we just had today. Best of buds, guys. Yep, best friends. You got to see it. We had such a blast. So much to enjoy here. Working hard. And you'll get to have this much fun soon, too. It's just amazing. Now, Kira then goes on to show the funding and how it's not slowing down. Like, Star Citizen has had over a decade of horrible publicity as more and more people have started to question, like, well, what's going on? When are these things coming? Like, Squadron 42, also still nowhere to be seen on the horizon, despite 10 years, apparently, of being completed after playing through every level. Star Citizen can't even begin to put the word complete in the same sentence as that game. And yet, it is still getting millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of dollars in crowd backing every single month.
But then if you want to understand why social media doesn't matter, just go and look at the funding, and bear in mind that this video came out on the 5th of August, and it makes no difference because just 6 days later they raised $500,000 in a single day. And then the next day they raised almost $400,000, and they're still, you know, week by week raising millions of dollars, a couple million this month, million this month. It makes no difference. They could show the worst thing you've ever seen, and people are still buying at unprecedented levels. It was only 2 months ago they raised $44.6 million in a single month. Like, they're over $1 billion. We're going to start climbing towards $2 billion at this rate.
Unfathomable to me. Because again, it has been a decade of people showcasing this game is nowhere near complete, and many times throughout its lifespan, unplayable. Yet people still keep ferociously spending hundreds, thousands of dollars in their game, raising millions of dollars every month. That just goes who knows where, fucking into the back rooms over there at CIG, because it's not leading to them actually getting any closer to making this game functional or playable or complete. Not only just Star Citizen, but Squadron 42 as well. And it doesn't matter. Kira's 100% right. It doesn't matter what they show. It doesn't matter how bad it is. The community is still locked in so heavily financially, they can't stop themselves from forking over all of these doubloons hand over fist constantly. It's wild. And that's why Star Citizen has been such a captivating topic for me that I can never resist the urge to like dive back in and at least take a peek to see what's going on. Because it doesn't matter how bad all of it is, like objectively is, and many times not even functional. It still makes millions. More so than tons and tons of like complete polished AAA games or really successful games. they get dwarfed by Star Citizen. Star Citizen's crowdfunding is reaching like GTA 6 level budget at this point. Like it's getting, it's comical. Like it is actually so silly how much money this game continues to generate despite having, I would say, very inexcusable levels of quality produced with this money. It's weird, it's crazy, and that live stream had me hooting and hollering. So yeah, that was great coverage from Kira. There's also a lot of Star Citizen YouTubers who have covered that stream that are really disappointed with the direction of Star Citizen and how things are panning out post $1 billion now. But I don't think any of them are going to stop spending anytime soon, nor do I think CIG is going to be completing anything anytime soon, or really fixing anything and getting it rolled out perfectly anytime soon. So yeah, I just had to yap about this. Tyson of the Mr. Beast crew had a ton of evidence surface about horrible behavior with how they communicated with minors, as well as a past of really disgusting shit. A lot of people are calling the Season 7 writers of 2024 internet drama lazy because they're reusing a similar plotline. A lot of people drew comparisons to Dr. Disrespect recently being outed for talking inappropriately to a minor. There are tons of screenshots to showcase exactly what was being said to someone who was between 13 and 14 years old at the time, and it's fucking gross. It's completely unacceptable. Some of them were just public tweets right under everyone's nose. So, Ava Tyson was an adult at this point, Lava was a child. And saying things like, I posted some fire nudes for you, please no share, and then other shit like, but not $5 pathetic JK kissy face, they seem to communicate a lot, even sending Snapchats. So here's one that says, coming for America, and then goes on to talk about being in a group chat and everything. And I've seen a lot of people try and cope and deflect saying like, oh, it's just edgy jokes, people are blowing this out of proportion. What a bunch of fucking nonsense. That's a load of hooey. That's dirty barnacles. That's ridiculous. Under no circumstances should an adult be communicating with a child in any inappropriate manner whatsoever. Edgy jokes between an adult and a child are still fucking gross. That's not like the slam dunk defense that some people seem to think it is. Under no circumstances should an adult be in a group chat with a bunch of children sending coming for America pictures. Like, that's still bad. That's still horrible. That's still really fucking weird. From what I can tell, most of the screenshots and a lot of the compiled evidence comes from this YouTuber, Prism42. This seems to be where most of it started, and since this video dropped, there's been a lot more screenshots that have come out with all kinds of really bad things that were being said to or about minors. I've only shown a couple here, but there's quite a bit more, and they're all just as bad, if not worse. Like, for some reason, Ava Tyson had a habit of calling a 13 or 14-year-old daddy. Like, you can't just write that off as being like quirky, inappropriate, edgy jokes that people are blowing out of proportion. That's unacceptable. It's indefensible. Now, the 13, 14-year-old in question for a lot of these messages is someone that has come forward to give their own accounts of the situation, and according to them, they don't believe that they were groomed or anything bad was done on the part of Ava Tyson or anything like that. And I'll just go ahead and give my take on it here. I talked about it on stream, and I'm not trying to be some kind of armchair psychologist because I'm just, at the end of the day, a little reptile brain idiot. But I really do feel like in a situation like this, it's very difficult to process just how inappropriate or unacceptable something was when you lived it. I imagine that it's very difficult to view this as the person that you communicated to so closely for so long was actually evil or doing things that were wrong. But in reality, no child should have this kind of relationship with an adult where you're joking about sending nudes to a minor or making edgy jokes about coming for America. So while the person here might not feel like a victim, it really is completely unacceptable that Ava Tyson would be communicating with them like this. It really is, no matter how it's spun. Now, it is important to mention that right now, most of the evidence is screenshots, so I guess there is the chance that some could be faked, but some of them seem very hard to fake, like there's a video going through a Snapchat conversation with Ava. There's also confirmed things that were publicly tweeted from their account over the years, which I'll get to now. And it was also revealed that Ava Tyson had a history of being a Shadman enthusiast. Since all of the tweets have been deleted, it makes it very difficult to find the times that they communicated with Shadman or talked about Shadman and the art, but I did find this from Mudahar's video, who went to the Wayback Machine and showcased this tweet. And Mudahar censored it because the character does not appear to be over the age of 18. For those of you that know that name, that might have just triggered a Winter Soldier moment in your brain with your eyes rolling into the back of your skull, because it is so foul. Shadman was an artist who drew child porn. Now, when you hear that, a lot of people think that you're talking about lolly or lolly hentai type shit, which is characters that look like little girls but are actually 5,000-year-old vampires. Like, that's the meme. Fucking sipping from their Mountain Dew going, uncultured swine. You see, it's not actually a real child. This is a victimless crime. This may look like a 4-year-old girl, but you don't understand the lore. She's actually coming from a sophisticated line of goblin ogres, and she is over 400 years old. So it's completely legal, and you're weird for thinking that it's weird. But with Shadman, he wasn't drawing lolly. He was drawing real children sexually. So one of the most infamous cases was when he drew Keemstar's 8-year-old daughter in a pornographic setting. That actual fucking lunatic drew porn of an 8-year-old girl. That's not hearsay or anything. That is something that actually happened. And you know what's even crazier? I talked about this on stream. A lot of people supported him publicly. Like, a lot of people defended that. Back when Shadman dropped that revolting dog shit, there was a lot of people that were pumping their fists saying, "Go Shadman! It's Keemstar, who cares? Doesn't matter, he deserves it anyway. Shadman, do you take requests? Can you do this person's underage daughter next?" He received applause for drawing child porn. Let that shit marinate for a moment. So anyway, Ava Tyson has publicly tweeted about lolly, and in particular, there are tweets of Ava Tyson talking either to or about Shadman. A lot of the tweets are gone now because the Twitter account has been nuked, but there are archives of a lot of them. And one thing that still persists, and one thing that a lot of people have been showing, is that Ava Tyson may have actually commissioned a piece from Shadman, or at the very least, purchased a piece from Shadman. There's a clip from a Mr. Beast video where there is Shadman art hanging on the wall, belonging to Ava Tyson. I censored the close-up of the art for obvious reasons, but this is something that is irrefutable. The only question about Ava Tyson and Shadman's connection is whether or not a piece was commissioned or purchased. But at the very least, a piece was owned by Ava Tyson. And I don't think there's any wiggle room to just explain this away as some kind of innocent whoops-a-daisy moment of being ignorant of what the art was. With Ava Tyson having publicly talked about content and art like that, and then also owning a Shadman piece, I don't think it's some kind of coincidence. Like, I don't think it was an accident and they didn't know Shadman drew child porn. I really don't. And then yet another disturbing video surfaced where they had actually made a video a long time ago that linked to revenge porn of Jeanette McCurdy.
The story is she sent pictures to her boyfriend, her now ex-boyfriend, and he leaked them out. And but the link's in the description if you want to see them. I mean, I'm not endorsing people to go look at somebody else's private business, but I know that you know, people might want to see them, so it's there if you want it.
That's crazy. That's astonishing. Sharing revenge porn publicly and trying to spin it like, well, some people might want to see this, so for you degenerates, I've posted the link in the description. If you want to check that out. But you'd be weird to do that, and I'm not endorsing it. That's unhinged. Completely unhinged. So all of this started to hit the mainstream. More and more people started sharing screenshots as well as other chat logs, all kinds of things with a history of communicating inappropriately with or about minors. And in response, a couple hours ago, Ava Tyson did make a statement, and this is what was said. I would like to apologize for any of my past behavior or comments if it hurt or offended anyone. It was not my intent. Seeing recent events, we've mutually decided it's best I permanently step away from all things Mr. Beast and social media to focus on my family and mental health. That is kind of a textbook non-apology. it doesn't address anything. It doesn't talk about anything. It's just like this blanket boilerplate statement about stepping away. There's no denial of anything, no claims that some of the information is false, made up, fabricated, a lie, a fib, a bunch of malarkey, nothing at all. You would really think that if any of the information was wrong or faked, that would be one of the first things that Ava Tyson would want to set the record straight on. But that didn't happen. Even if it was something like needing more time, I really feel like that would have been expressed in the statement, saying, need more time to talk about all of these things that are incorrect. But again, that's not there. So they're assumed to be all correct at this point, and they're indefensible, the things that have come out here. As I was rendering this video, Ava Tyson dropped more tweets claiming that no one was ever groomed, and then states that the victim vocally supported that that's false. I again, already told you my feelings on that. I really don't think a child who has this kind of relationship with an adult would ever really recognize just how inappropriate it was, because it became so normalized to them, which it never should be. It's a horrible thing, and there really is no excusing it in my eyes. Going further, there's an apology about unacceptable social media posts, and then saying that it was edgy jokes and that it was unacceptable humor, that it's like a thing of the past and it's been misconstrued into things that didn't happen, and then not wanting the accusations to impact hundreds of people who work at Mr. Beast, which is why Ava Tyson has stepped away. I just don't think you can write off a lot of those social media posts as edgy jokes or edgy humor when you actually owned art from an artist who draws child porn. That's not a joke anymore. Haha, bought some child porn art. Like, that's not exactly side-splitting comedy. Like, I don't really think you can just go ahead and hand wave that as being edgy and like old humor that you've grown from. And then some of the tweets about it and like requests, what's the joke? Like, what's the punchline of that? I really don't think you can just say, oh, it's just edgy jokes that are blown out of proportion. Sorry if people are offended by it. Like, that just doesn't really work to me. As of right now, there's been no response from Mr. Beast or anyone else on the team about all of this. So it remains to be seen whether or not Jimmy or anyone else on the team knew about these things or what's going on there. But as of me making this video, there's still no response yet. So this whole situation is obviously horrible. And there's a little bit more I want to talk about here, and it's something I didn't even think I'd ever need to talk about, but I guess we've reached this point in the internet where this is necessary. I've been being attacked on Twitter, just fucking dogpiled, about my ignoring the situation and refusing to speak on it, being too much of a coward to talk about all this, which is crazy to me. And then people saying like, oh, where was the same energy for where was the same energy that you had for Dr. Disrespect here? And it's crazy that I even have to talk about this. So last night during stream, this story was still breaking. Things were still coming out about this story. And I talked about it on stream last night. The same day all of these pieces of evidence were surfacing. I talked about it immediately. Once I became aware of what the evidence was out there and what the claims were and what was going on, I was talking about it right away. And I even posted a video that is highly edited and short, nice and concise, about the whole bare bones of the situation and my thoughts on it for the second channel, so that way even if you have the biggest brain rot and can't focus on a video for long, you can still finish that whole video and see just how bad this whole Ava Tyson situation is. So I talked about it immediately, but Twitter didn't see that video, and the ones that did wrote it off as, oh, he's only going to put this on his second channel because he's afraid to put it on his main channel. He didn't do that for Dr. Disrespect. He was like that with Dr. Disrespect. You are provably wrong. All you had to do was activate a few fucking neurons in your noodle. Check my Dr. Disrespect video. I posted it at, I think it was 9 p.m. on June 22nd. June 22nd is when my Dr. Disrespect video went up. The allegation against Dr. Disrespect was on June 21st. So what happened is, that allegation came out. I talked about it on stream. Dr. Disrespect made a statement as well the same day that I talked about on stream. Then the following day, almost a full 24 hours later, I made the video talking about it. And in this situation, it is the exact same timeline. I was talking about it as everything was unfolding. I even had a video go up on the second channel going over everything that was coming out, and now I'm making the full video about it 24 hours later. It's the exact same speed and same energy as the Dr. Disrespect situation. And the main person who started this lightning rod of accusations about me ducking it and refusing to address it is fucking Sneako of all people.
Yo, look out, Moist Critical is not gonna go talk about the Kris situation because he wants to have the Mr. Beast collab. Bro, you're gonna talk about every other trending situation, Dr. Disrespect, Sneako, anything that goes viral goes on your main channel. Kris, the associate of the biggest YouTube channel in the world, you do a 4-minute clip on your second channel. Stop coping and be a journalist if you're gonna be a journalist, or just say that you wanna have the collab. Stop lying.
Jesus Christ, the fucking drool there is gonna drive me insane. I need to go put on the fucking bathrobe here and give him PTSD or something. What do you mean it is a 4-minute clip? Because I did that so people like you who don't pay attention long enough could see my take on it and also get the bare bones information of what makes it so horrible. That's the reason it's a 4-minute clip on the second channel. It was never going to be the only video I made talking about it. I was always going to make a full breakdown of this because it's bad. It's a horrible situation. So yes, you're right. I do talk about like big trending bad shit like Dr. Disrespect or like Cody most recently. I don't know why people thought I wouldn't talk about this. I knew Cody far more than I knew Ava Tyson. I talked to Cody at length one time on his podcast and then one other time in DMs. Ava Tyson, I met 1.5 times. I first met them after a poker game with Mr. Beast. They showed up right at the end, right before I left. And then at the most recent Mr. Beast video, also right when I got out, Ava Tyson showed up and I talked to them for a couple of minutes. But I never knew Ava Tyson very well. Cody I did, and I still wasn't afraid to talk about how awful his shit was. So I've never been someone to fucking shy away from a bad situation like this just because I know or am familiar with the person that it's about. So I don't know why people thought that that would be the case here. And also, for the millionth fucking time, I'm not a journalist. I'm like the Z-tier stupid journalist, like this actual layman fucking CTE-riddled idiot that reports on stories, and I talk about them usually to make jokes about them. In rare cases, and recently it's been very common, there's serious stories that I am very passionate about delivering and talking about how shitty they are. So, like, in a situation like this, yeah, this isn't really a story that I joke a lot about because it is serious. When there is a victim who is a child here, that's something to take seriously. But I'm not a fucking journalist. Most of the shit I talk about is the most inconsequential mumbo-jumbo ever, like aliens in warp drives, or that recent story about how scientists discovered hippos can fly because they get airborne for a split second, literally like 1/2 of a frame. They're able to get all 4 little legs off the ground. And I talk about those stories and joke about them. It's just talking about shit to joke about it for the most part, except in cases like this, where it is a serious story that I talk about. Now, Sneako, I hope you're ready for the cold water here, because I'm going to be brutally honest with you. When this story broke, I thought for sure, I would have actually bet money that you would have been some kind of contrarian talking about how this is actually not a big deal and everyone who's pretending to be outraged about it is actually just a hypocrite. Because you have been on this crusade for a while now about not agreeing with the age of consent. So I really thought you'd be talking about how, oh, this is just like Dr. Disrespect, who you ran hard defense for with this imaginary 17-year-old you cooked up in your head based off of one fake email from an anonymous source. And I thought you would be going that angle again, saying like, oh, well, that 13-year-old was probably very mature.
Age of consent should be maturity. It's not even 18 in most states. Why do you even believe that? It's because in Hollywood, it's 18, so that gets pushed everywhere. Most places, 16. And if you question that, then they call you a pedo. I believe the age of consent is the age of maturity. It should be called the age of marriage. Age of consent implies that you're gonna have out of wedlock. I think it's better that people get married at 16, 17 than to have a bunch of premarital until they're 30 and they're washed up and then they get jaded and they're on birth control and they have dried up eggs. I think that's better for society.
He's so pseudo-intellectual that he actually argues for things that defend pedophilia. That's fucking ridiculous. And when challenged on this, it's even worse. So there's an older clip now, it's quite a few months old, where XQC and Destiny actually challenge him on this right to his face, and holy shit, it's bad.
You see how you want to answer the question? You see how he's going to yap and not answer the question? I'm going to ask the same thing when you're done. Go ahead.
I just answered the question. I just told you.
What was the age?
I just told you at a developed age.
Sneako thinks you should be able to fuck 9-year-olds. That's what Sneako thinks, and he won't answer that question honestly. Or he's going to have to give a different answer, in which case he's updated his morality. He's updated his views, and that's really uncomfortable for him. You don't have an answer to any of this shit, bro. Go back to fucking that fucking corner in London where you're getting roasted by year 1 debaters on fucking Christianity. This is retarded. I don't know what the fuck you're doing in here.
Okay, so you can leave the call. I wanted to go talk about this word.
I don't want to leave the call. I like hanging out here. I've talked to a lot of pedophiles in the past, so.
Okay.
Okay, Sneako, I'm actually curious now. What do you think the age of development is?
I just told you. It depends on where you are. It depends on the world.
Then at what stage do you think somebody is developed in it? What stage of development? Because there's a lot of
It
stages of
varies.
development.
It varies. I
It
don't think
varies.
there's a
It varies on what?
I think it varies on the age.
It varies on the age.
It depends on where you are. It depends on the
You
person
need to have set ages for that. There are stages of development. As a child, an adolescent, and
You can hear him start to snivel in the background there as he's sucking up snot from his nose, getting cooked, and his brain is fucking overheating, malfunctioning, trying to formulate some kind of response to the easiest question in the world about what he thinks the age of consent should be. He keeps talking about the age of development and then can't even put a number on it. So everyone, please feel free to ask Sneako what he thinks the age of consent should be if you want to see a human being fucking glitch out and malfunction like an Oblivion NPC. Can't answer the most basic question in the world. That is concerning. You realize how deranged that makes you look, Sneako? That makes you look like an actual danger to society, that you don't agree with the age of consent and try and argue around it. That's what every pedophile ever that Kris Hansen talked to would do. Like, you're a fucking weirdo. So for you of all people, this fucking putrid vermin, this absolute slimy worm, to have the gall to say that I only care about the Mr. Beast collab, thus this whole story is just relegated to, you'd never use that word's too big for you. This whole story is just put on his second channel where no one's gonna see it because it's safer that way so he can keep the Mr. Beast collab alive. He's afraid, he's a coward for it. He has no problem abandoning his morals and defending blatant pedophilia, brushing it under the rug as long as it means it keeps the Mr. Beast collab alive. For you to make insinuations like that, and even claims like that, is fucking unhinged, considering you make actual pedophile defense arguments constantly, and you have publicly put on the clown makeup and worn white knight armor complete with the shield to defend Dr. Disrespect when he himself publicly admitted to messaging a minor inappropriately. It's fucking insanity. It makes me want to spit that I even have to talk about this, but it became such a huge, fiery issue on Twitter about me specifically that I felt the need to have to include this in this video, which should have been entirely focused on everything Ava Tyson has done and why it is so shitty. But now I've had to dedicate a sizable chunk to talking about these claims against me, about how I'm not going to talk about it and was not going to talk about it until pressure from Twitter forced me to, even though I had talked about it as it was developing and even mentioned on stream I was going to make a video on it. So to bring it all back to what should actually be the focus, the Ava Tyson situation and how horrible it is, I believe that it is an unforgivable thing that has been done. Talking to minors inappropriately is horrible. And having this kind of continued relationship with a minor where you're sharing edgy and inappropriate jokes back and forth and being in group chats and voice chats with children and saying gross things around them is so weird that it is not okay under any situation. It's disgusting behavior. And publicly supporting an artist who draws child porn and even owning art from that artist and talking about art like that and the revenge porn, all of it is very fucking bad. It's horrible. I'm not pulling any punches here on my feelings around it. So yes, I wanted to talk about this, and that's a crazy day this has been. So I'm sure pretty much all of you that clicked on this video already know about what's happened with the Dr. Disrespect situation. To catch you up to speed with the briefest previously on Dragon Ball Z recap, Dr. Disrespect was the face of Twitch. In 2020, he was mysteriously banned from the platform and not a peep had ever been uttered about why. This was a secret more guarded than the Krabby Patty formula. I really thought we'd never know the reason that Dr. Disrespect was banned. I thought that'd be taken to the grave. I thought we'd crack faster than light travel before we ever learned what the reason behind it was. But then from out of nowhere on just an average quiet Friday night, a former Twitch employee dropped a bombshell allegation claiming that Dr. Disrespect was banned due to sexting a minor through the Twitch Whispers service. Now, there was never any screenshots or evidence provided to support that claim. However, some other parties came forward saying that they had all heard a similar reason behind the ban. Dr. Disrespect then made a response to that statement, which was less than satisfactory for most people with a functioning frontal lobe because he talked very vaguely about it and didn't actually outright deny the claim at all. So then he made a follow-up statement which aimed to provide a little more clarity, but it was still pretty vague, and both of these seemed to have like a lot of legalese talk to him to try, like, kind of tiptoe around the topic itself. So both of his responses, like the tweets, weren't received overly well. It was like he just kept stepping on a rake like in a cartoon and hitting himself in the face. He wasn't doing himself favors with his statements. But then the credibility of the source of behind this allegation started to be called into question because people did digging through their Twitter and found out they'd actually been dangling this carrot in front of their audience about they know the reason Dr. Disrespect's been banned, and if you buy tickets to their concert, they might reveal it. So then people started to question that. And then today, Dr. Disrespect released another statement where he admitted to the claim of talking to a minor through Twitch whispers inappropriately. However, he denies that there was any real intent behind the messages, which is a crazy thing to say. Like, if any of you have watched To Catch a Predator, you'll recognize that tactic, that little maneuver right there, because that's something that was pretty frequent on that show. When a predator went down and talked with Chris Hansen, a lot of them said that same thing pretty much. Like, oh, no, I didn't mean any of that. I was actually just teaching them a lesson about talking to strangers and the dangers of it. There was never any real intent behind the things that were said. Like, that's a very weird thing to try and say. So let's just go through his statement first, though. The Twitch ban. Hello, I'd like to make a statement. Let's cut the bullshit. As you know, there's no filter with me. I've always been upfront and real with you guys on anything that I can be upfront about, and I'm always willing to accept responsibility, which is why I'm here now. First and foremost, I do want to apologize to everyone in my community, as well as those close to me, my team, and everyone at Midnight Society Game Studio. For those that don't know, I forgot to mention this in my lore exposition on this. His company that he founded, Midnight Society Game Studio, which had been working on a game with him for a long time, announced yesterday that they were going to be terminating him after they conducted an investigation, and after they assumed his innocence, found something through their investigation that made them uncomfortable keeping him around, so they let him go. So that's why he's mentioning them here. A lot of people have been left in the dark about what happened yesterday with Midnight Society and I, and we made the painful decision collectively to have me step down. Our team is full of incredibly talented and good people that have high career ambitions and families. I'd never want to jeopardize the culture we have carefully crafted. Now, before getting into the rest of this, I do want to mention, Midnight Society themselves said that he was terminated. Here he's saying that he stepped down like it was a mutual decision. I don't know if this is like a you can't fire me, I quit type of situation, you know, turn in the badge and the gun and go your separate way as a lone wolf, or what? Like, there's just a bit of a discrepancy whether he was terminated by Midnight Society or if he himself and them left on good terms where he agreed to step down. Ultimately, the point is he's no longer associated with that studio anymore after they conducted their own investigation into this subject. Everyone has been wanting to know why I was banned from Twitch, but for reasons outside of my control, I was not allowed to say anything for the last several years. Now that 2 former Twitch employees have publicly disclosed the accusations, I can now tell you my side of the story regarding the ban. Were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. Were there real intentions behind these messages? The answer is absolutely not. These were casual, mutual conversations that sometimes leaned too much in the direction of being inappropriate, but nothing more. Nothing illegal happened, no pictures were shared, no crimes were committed, I never even met the individual. I went through a lengthy arbitration regarding a civil dispute with Twitch, and that case was resolved by a settlement. Let me be clear, it was not a criminal case against me, and no criminal charges have ever been brought against me. Now, the doc actually edited this statement twice. So initially, he posted it with the word minor in it, saying, were there messages with an individual minor? The answer is yes. But then shortly after he published it, he edited the word minor out of it. So he removed that. He redacted it like a fucking CIA document, trying to bury it, just snapping it out of existence. So then it read, were there messages with an individual? The answer is yes. But people were quick to notice the edit, and you can actually check edit history on Twitter, which I didn't know you can do, but you could clearly see that the original no longer matched the current one because he took the word minor out. So when people caught him red-handed, he just edited it one more time to put the word minor back into it. Now, there is a lot to say about just that small chunk right there, but I'm going to finish reading the statement first before we really dive into the weeds of it. Now, from a moral standpoint, I'll absolutely take responsibility. I should have never entertained these conversations to begin with. That's on me. That's on me as an adult, a husband, and a father. It should have never happened. I get it. I'm not perfect, and I'll fucking own my shit. This was stupid. Now, with all this said, Don't get it mistaken, I've seen all the remarks and labels being thrown around so loosely. Social media is a destruction zone. I'm no predator or pedophile. Are you kidding me? Anyone that truly knows me knows where I stand on these things with those type of people. Fuck that. That's a different level of disgust that I hate even hearing about. Don't be labeling me as the worst of the worst with your exaggerations. Get the fuck out of here with that. But I think I've said what I needed to say regarding the ban itself. That's it. That's why Twitch made the decision in 2020. To my team, community, industry friends that have supported me, I apologize. I wish I could have said all this sooner. You guys have always shown me and my family love and support throughout all these years. We love you guys like you can't imagine. I have the best community and circle. If any of this has made you uncomfortable, I get it. You don't have to support me anymore, but just know you have always been greatly appreciated. Trust me when I say this. To all my haters that live and breathe social media with zero real-life experience, I don't give a fuck about you. Finally, if you're uncomfortable with this entire statement and think I'm a piece of shit, that's fine. I'm not going anywhere. Actual Wolf of Wall Street energy. I'm not fucking leaving. And I'm not the same guy that made this statement all those years ago. I'm taking an extended vacation with my family as mentioned on stream, and I'm coming back with a heavy weight off my shoulders. They want me to disappear. Yeah, fucking right. He tries to close this statement with a really hard, cheesy 80s action movie one-liner. They want me to disappear. Yeah, fucking right. Granny shifting, not double clutching like you should. You're lucky you didn't blow the welds off the intake. I'm not leaving. It's really kind of ridiculous to put that there with accusations like this. These are super serious. Like, this isn't something people take lightly at all. In his own statement, he has openly admitted to messaging a minor and had conversations that were inappropriate, or as he said, leaned into being inappropriate. Now, what's not clear, and what a lot of people are coping with, is that maybe Dr. Disrespect didn't know the age of the person he was communicating with, but I truly feel if that was the case, Dr. Disrespect would have mentioned that, saying that he had those communications with this person that he believed was of age but turned out to be a minor. I think if that was the reality of that situation, if he truly communicated with someone that he thought was of age but turned out to be a minor, I think he would have mentioned that in this statement, but he didn't. He didn't say that he was under the impression he was communicating with an adult. He just says that he had conversations with an individual minor. He doesn't say anything like, oh, they were actually one day away from being 18, or I really thought they were, in their 20s, or anything like that. And I think if that was what happened, it would have been mentioned here. I really do. But there's no mention of that. So it's hard to give that benefit of the doubt that he didn't know, because I think he would have mentioned if that was the case. I also think it's pretty telling that some of the closest people to Dr. Disrespect are coming forward saying how unacceptable it was and distancing themselves from him, because if he didn't know that he was communicating with a minor, he probably would have told them at the very least, but they're not saying that either. So here's Robert Bowling, one of his business partners here, saying, if you inappropriately message a minor, I cannot work with you, period. I promised to only act on facts, and I did. So I just really don't think there's a whole lot of wiggle room about Doc not knowing that he was communicating with a minor. Like, I feel like there's been plenty of opportunities now for that information to have come out from somewhere, but nobody is saying that other than people theorizing and hoping that maybe that's the case. But Doc himself has never said that that was a possibility. He'd never even hinted that he didn't know the person's age, and the people closest to him aren't saying that either. So I really think that it's likely that he did know that, and he still had these conversations that lean to being inappropriate with someone he knew to be a minor, which is fucking disgusting. Now, there are people still defending this, saying, well, he didn't go to jail for it, so what's the big deal? Can't wait for the next stream, Doc. Firm handshakes. Like, there's people that are just dismissing this as not a big deal, which is insanity. I think that is pure lunacy. I can't fucking believe some of what I'm reading here from people that are just writing this off as not a big deal because it's a streamer they like. An adult communicating inappropriately with a minor is bad. Full stop. It's inexcusable. No matter how you spin it, that is a horrible thing. Now, he may not have met up with the minor in question. However, was that his decision? Was he the one that decided not to meet up with him? Because with the information that's been come out, now, again, keep in mind, we don't have access to the chat log, like the conversations that took place, but from all the sources that have come out from, like, Bloomberg and all of that, it sounds like the conversation they had did talk about meeting up at TwitchCon. So, that right there shows pretty real intent to meet up with this person. And who knows, maybe it was the minor that ultimately got uncomfortable with this whole thing and called it off, not the doc. We don't know for sure. The only thing we do know for sure with what the doc just confirmed is that he was talking inappropriately with a minor, which is a terrible, terrible thing. And even his closest friends are saying they can't defend it. It's inexcusable. And they're right. It is inexcusable. But there are still people trying to defend it, as pathetic as that is. And Dr. Disrespect claims that he's going to come back at some point. And I have no doubt when he does, he's still going to have a massive audience. I can already tell, based on the amount of people jumping through hoops trying to find ways of justifying this and spinning it in ways where he doesn't look evil. Which is impossible, but they're doing their best. So I know when he comes back, he will probably have tons of viewers and tons of donations out the fucking wazoo, saying things like, keep your head up, Doc, don't let cancel culture get you down. It's just a fucking cancel culture mob that came after you. You're a victim of that mob, that's it. Which is just so unhinged. He has openly admitted, in his own words, to inappropriately talking to a minor. It's just craziness. So, that's the update to this whole Dr. Disrespect ban situation. Know the answer to what happens when we die, what came before the Big Bang, why am I so short, why did Dr. Disrespect get banned from Twitch at the height of his popularity in 2020? Dr. Disrespect was the face of Twitch, one of the largest streamers on the platform and one of the largest streamers just in general in the world. And out of nowhere, in 2020, he received a permanent ban, with no elaboration from Twitch's side, nor his. Though he has been somewhat vocal about suing Twitch as a result of getting banned, but he's never explained what the ban was for in the first place. So it's always just been this mystery that's plagued the minds of scholars for the last 4 years. A mystery on par with Area 51. And now, last night, there was a new development in this situation. Now, I want to be very clear, these are still allegations here, but a former Twitch employee on a random Friday night just came out and dropped a fucking bombshell claiming that Dr. Disrespect got banned because he was caught sexting a minor using the Twitch Whisper system and trying to meet up with them at TwitchCon. An extremely surprising statement that jump-scared the entire streaming community. Like, first of all, I didn't even know people used the Twitch Whisper system. That, in and of itself, was a shock. Twitch Whispers is more archaic than AIM and more useless than flavored toilet paper. It hardly functions. It's a joke of a messaging service. But anyway, these are obviously massive allegations against Dr. Disrespect. Now, they didn't provide any evidence or proof of the claims. However, a lot of other parties, like journalists, came forward saying that they had heard similar things from Twitch employees, like their trusted sources had told them similar stories about the reason behind Dr. Disrespect's ban. But again, no evidence has been provided publicly for all of this. Right now, it's just a lot of people saying, like, this is what we heard too. Dr. Disrespect did reply to a tweet talking about it a little bit, saying, Jake, seriously, I get it. It's a hot topic, but this has been settled. No wrongdoing was acknowledged, and they paid out the whole contract. The vast majority of people were pretty unsatisfied with that response from the doc because it's a bunch of hooey, like mumbo-jumbo legal lawyer speak that doesn't actually say anything. Like, instead of saying he didn't do what the claims are, like he didn't sext a minor, he said no wrongdoing was acknowledged, not that no wrongdoing happened. And then mentions that Twitch paid out the whole contract, which I think the reason he threw that in there is to try and illustrate that Twitch ended up settling with him and paid out his whole contract, which must mean that he was in the right legally, I think is what he's getting at, but it's so obtuse and still doesn't shut down the claim that has been made against him. So most people were left scratching their head wondering, well, is it true or not? So about an hour ago, he did make a follow-up tweet here saying, listen, I'm obviously tied to legal obligations from the settlement with Twitch, but I just need to say what I can since this is the fucking internet. I didn't do anything wrong. All this has been probed and settled, nothing illegal, no wrongdoing was found, and I was paid. Elden Ring Monday. He definitely provides a little more clarity with this statement. However, I have to wonder what legal obligations have got him like fucking strangled like Homer Simpson around Bart Simpson's neck that are preventing him from just saying he didn't sext a minor if he didn't. He's still kind of talking around it, saying it's been probed and settled, nothing illegal, no wrongdoing was found, he was paid. instead of just like outright coming out with a fucking iron fist saying, this is baloney, this is a load of horseradish, absolute fish paste, that's not true. Whatever this legal settlement with Twitch was in the Thunderdome here, it's prevented him from being able to talk directly about this claim, it seems, which is so fucking odd. Now, I think it's important I mention just how uncommon it is for Twitch to permanently ban a streamer of any size, period. That's more rare than a total solar eclipse. It just doesn't happen often at all. There was a streamer who went live and she goatsied herself directly at the camera on Twitch, only got a 72-hour ban. A year or two ago, there was a streamer who had full-blown sex on stream and she only got a 72-hour ban. There's so many streamers that also have like 10 or even 12 bans to their name and still get to stream on Twitch without issue. So a permaban doesn't happen often, and it certainly doesn't happen often to the biggest streamer on their platform, and Dr. Disrespect was under a big contract with Twitch at the time of his ban. So for them to permanently ban him at the height of his popularity while he was the face of their platform with a big contract from them, it had to be something big. And the theory I subscribe to, and the most commonly accepted theory for why he was banned, was that it must have been some kind of big contract dispute. This time period was a wacky one, quite quirky for sure. It's when Mixer was still around, God rest its soul. It went out with a sad, pathetic whimper, a little wet fart into the wind, but at the time, it was a juggernaut, and it was scaring Twitch. It had recently bought Ninja off of Twitch to Mixer, it bought Shroud, and there was a little bit of a panic from Twitch, who then started issuing massive contracts to streamers on their platform to keep them there and away from Mixer. So the idea was that maybe Dr. Disrespect was talking with Mixer about a huge contract buyout, and it pissed Twitch off, so they banned him and wiped their ass with that contract, which led to Dr. Disrespect suing them for it, but Twitch in the settlement made sure that he kept his mouth shut about it. That was the main theory most people believed, again, myself included, and now this has come out. And again, there's no evidence to support the claims, but with a handful of other people coming forward saying they heard a similar reason behind his ban, it's got a lot of people believing that it must be accurate. Now, if it is true, it does also make Twitch look pretty bad here, in my opinion, because this is a situation that deals with child safety on their platform, and if the face of their platform was sexting a minor through their Whispers service, I think Twitch has a responsibility to explain what they're going to do going forward to ensure that kind of shit doesn't happen again. Though I guess there could again be some real fucky nonsense in the legal proceedings that followed. I have no clue, really. But in the event that it is true, it still makes it seem like Twitch was covering up for the face of their platform being a predator. And that's not a good look for Twitch. So I guess it's also possible that Twitch wanted to bury this as well, to not take some kind of reputational hit in the public eye. Especially, I guess, during 2020 when Mixer was around. So I guess that's possible. I do, however, think now that this allegation has come out, whether it's true or false, I think this is going to be the start of the information around the ban coming forward, either from Twitch or Dr. Disrespect here, because this is such a massive allegation. So someone's going to come forward to set the record straight one way or the other is what I think will probably happen here, but I could be totally wrong. It could be another 4 fucking years before there's even a peep about the Dr. Disrespect Twitch ban mystery. But something I've seen a lot of other people talking about is they're surprised that Twitch was reading Whispers in the first place. I don't think anyone should be caught off guard by that. In the current day and age, everything you send through any service can easily be accessed by that service and is most likely being accessed by that service. All of your data is constantly being harvested and sold. I thought everyone knew that by this point. So in this case, Twitch having access to the Whispers and reading them and then taking action from them isn't like an unheard of concept at all. It's just a matter of that's the reality of what happened, if this is a true claim or not. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to go over where everything's at right now. It's kind of just a complete mess, so I guess we'll see as the story develops. That's really a video giving you an update to a story I covered a few years ago about an Australian YouTuber named Friendly Jordies whose house was firebombed by some villains, by some really unsavory bad guys. Not only was his house firebombed, his neighbor's was too, because the assassin got confused on which one belonged to the YouTuber, so he firebombed both of them, which could have piled up multiple charred corpses here. It was an attempt on Jordy's life, really. And recently, Friendly Jordy's announced that one of the people responsible for this firebombing had been arrested and is going to jail. And let me tell you something. The Australian justice system, the legal department over there was working overtime. They were cooking. They did not pull any punches. They threw the book at this guy. They came baring their fucking fists and sentenced him to like a summer camp in jail, basically. So this bad guy is going to have a long, hard think about what he's done for the 45 minutes he spends in the slammer. He got 5 years in jail. And from what I've read, he's not actually spending 5 years in jail. Some of it is already taken off of it. So for trying to kill someone, could have been multiple people from 2 separate firebombing instances, both aimed at Friendly Jordy's here, a YouTuber. He's getting the tiniest slap on the wrist, almost like a slap on the ass. It almost is kind of like an encouragement because they're not taking it seriously. They're doing less than the bare minimum. And today, Friendly Jordy's just posted another video going even deeper on this situation, and it is fucking terrifying. This almost sounds like the government giving their stamp of approval to just go after Jordy's because they're just not going to do shit about it. Their inaction is almost them just enabling more bad guys like this to try and kill Friendly Jordy's. It is horrifying. So I really want to yap about this some more because it is just in broad daylight here. This corruption is not even slightly trying to be hidden in the shadows or anything.
As such, today I feel like I've been left with no choice but to again address the firebombing, as I've waited 3 years for the police to do something. And during these 3 years, I've not only watched them pass by on numerous chances to solve this mystery, but also somehow, for some mysterious reason, downright actually reject good leads that I've been aware of. No follow-up or interest. It's been a joke. In my estimation, seen a single journalist publicly uncover more about the firebombing than the entire force combined.
Jordy's is clearly and rightfully angry here at the lack of results here from a 3-year investigation with a lot of question marks for how things have been handled and how seemingly weak it has all been. It seems from all available information here that the New South Wales Police Department was more concerned with figuring out how many fingers they could fit into their butts at the office than actually getting to the bottom of this investigation. They did like the tiniest crumb of work by arresting one person in regards to the firebombing, whom the judge also said was the hired muscle. He was hired to do this. It was a planned attack, yet they never even bothered to investigate who might have hired this guy. You know, the natural evolution, the natural next step of an investigation. You found the hired muscle. Now, come on, let's use our thinking caps here. What comes next? Who hired the muscle? That's where it should go, but never has. And Jordy's is talking about how this investigation has just been a joke for the last 3 years here. And he is highlighting a journalist that has done significantly more investigation than the New South Wales police force has in 3 years, seemingly.
As you probably know, in 2022 my house was firebombed because of a video I made. A video which I was forced to take down a year after the firebombing, after threats on my life and the lives of others were attempted to be passed on to me via a former Mongols bikie sergeant-at-arms gangster turned Four Corners journalist, Mahmoud Fazal. Yes, Four Corners. Ostensibly the most prestigious investigative journalism institution in Australia, the esteemed flagship, no less, of our dear public broadcaster, the ABC. Allow me to reiterate, as that is really hard to capture just how damning this is. A Four Corners journalist was meeting with heavy organised crime figures, then sending through demands purportedly on behalf of those figures, threatening that if I failed to remove my investigation into these figures, myself and people around me would die.
This should be alarming to literally anybody. Like, if you are sentient, like if you have self-awareness, you know, you can look at yourself in the mirror and recognize, oh, that's me, then this should immediately start raising for some red flags. Anybody should hear this and then just start to wonder, how is this even fucking possible? So apparently a journalist at a very reputable organization had been apparently meeting with some crime families and passing along threats that if Jordy's didn't take down his video investigation into them, where he dipped his toes into that topic, then he and others' lives were in jeopardy. Holy shit.
This story was exposed by Kate McClymont in the Sydney Morning Herald over a year ago. Though I never spoke about it in depth, you can read it if you want more context. It's brilliant work. But the important takeaway is this. When faced with an abundance of new evidence relating to the firebombing, the evidence that was more than enough at the very least to charge a few people, what did the New South Wales Police do? As far as I'm aware, nothing. Nothing substantive at least. I tried to question the Four Corners journalist who passed on these threats, but according to New South Wales Police, he refused to provide a statement. Shouldn't that ring a few alarm bells? Shouldn't that open up further avenues of inquiry when conveying threats in of itself can be an offence? Apparently not. This is every criminal's dream treatment. Burn down a house, threaten to kill people, have it reported to police, and then the police do nothing.
A recipe for disaster, a nightmare concoction for normal people, but a dream scenario for criminals here. This guy gets to pass on all of these threatening messages, allegedly, and then, instead of having any investigation into that or his connection, he just gets to say, I don't want to talk about it. And that's where it ends. That's very interesting because, as Jordy's mentioned, even conveying threats like this in and of itself is kind of a crime. Or at the very least should warrant someone to poke around and be like, well, where's this coming from? You know, what's up with these threats on people's lives, you know? But that didn't happen. And he doesn't have to explain himself. He can just say, nah, not feeling like it. And that's just where it stops. Wow.
And then what did the national broadcaster do when faced with the fact that their reporter was telling people that he was going to meetings with gangland murderers in order to find out what death threats and messages to pass on to? Did nothing. Well, they didn't do nothing. Do you want to know what they actually did? They defended Mahmoud Fazal. They defended this man with his self-advertised gangster history and disproof against him, who slanderously claimed that Kate McClymont's article on the threats that he passed on were based on, how's this? Ethnic stereotyping. And the self-proclaimed greatest, most hard-nosed investigative journalist in the country believed him.
Jordy's briefly explained that the reason he hadn't dove into this deeper over the last 3 years is because the authorities were conveying to him that it would be best if he didn't because it might hamper their investigation. So he kept his mouth shut and let them not do their job, basically. Or rather, not do the job they're supposed to be doing in protecting citizens. They're doing a great job in protecting criminals with this case here, just letting them totally have free reign here without them doing a whole lot on the investigation side of things, seemingly. That's how it certainly appears. What he's talking about here is that journalist who was conveying these threats, well, after that bombshell of an article came out, the broadcaster defended him, and his defense was basically, no, this is stereotyping. Doesn't get into the weeds of it or anything, just goes, stereotyping. This is all racism. She should be ashamed of herself. Yeah, this is racist. It's just racist, these claims. Yeah, no, it's all stereotypes. I guess that's all he had to say. That was checkmate right there.
I can assure you that absolutely nothing in Kate McClymont's article is incorrect, and considering McClymont's track record, it would take a very creative, brave, or perhaps just in way too deep ABC management type to chuck an Eddie O bead and dismiss serious allegations as simply racist stereotyping. But it looks like that's what happened. The ABC were even offered multiple times hard documentary evidence to back up McClymont's claims, should they want to investigate these serious allegations, evidence that they refused to even look at. In light of, I have to stress, grave allegations, death threats from one of their reporters.
That was just a watertight defense right there. They altered. They said it's racist. We're not looking at it. All that information, all of that overwhelming evidence that you're trying to put across our desk? Nope. It's apparently racist. It's so fucking absurd. It's actually preposterous. It would literally be laughable if people's lives weren't at stake here.
He was in the news over a lover's quarrel with his now former podcast host, independent reporter Ryan Nemenko, a man with a similar story to Fazal, as he describes himself as part journalist, part outlaw. Nemenko claims that when it came to payment, Fazal and a man who had been the subject of Fazal's Four Corners stories in the past, former cocaine dealer Ben Aitken, demanded cash from Nemenko immediately. Why is this interesting? Check the front page of the Sydney Morning Herald. Nemenko has provided what he claims are further texts between himself and Fazal in which Fazal says, quote, "F*** Geordies and his people, they're dogs, I want to kill him so bad. Yeah.
I highly recommend you watch Jordy's full video going over this, but to sum it up here, put it in a nutshell, the journalist whom we were just talking about went into business with another part-time journalist, part-time outlaw, Sneako, and the relationship soured for a variety of reasons, like the payment thing mentioned there, and through this, it was revealed in messages which allegedly could have been fabricated based on some of the headlines you'll see floating around, but the messages allegedly show this journalist, whom, keep in mind, has some close ties here to some very unsavory characters, supposedly, outright saying, fuck Jordy's and his people, their dogs, I want to kill him so bad. That's very scary, given his supposedly close ties to the criminal underworld.
The man who I know for a fact said he was meeting with organised crime figures in order to ascertain what message to send to me from them. The man who ABC and police failed to investigate is now reported to have said he wants to kill me. So bad. There's more in these text chains, which is just as damning. But before I get into them, I want to note that as reported by Kate McClymont, Fazal has claimed that one of the text messages is fabricated and the others merely taken out of context. Having seen the original chains, it's very difficult to see how these could possibly even be taken out of context. Plus, even if just some of these texts are real, as Fazal himself has now implied, that's enough of an indictment on Fazal and the ABC in of itself.
Another classic move here, reaching deep into his asshole, into the old bag of tricks. It's out of context. Oh, it's fake. AI. It's a deep fake. No, that's not my penis. It couldn't be. My penis is fucking 14 inches long. Well, soft. No, this is all a lie. This can't be. It's out of context. And, you know, I can't say with 100% confidence what is and is not authentic there. I haven't seen the messages myself, and I haven't seen the full context, but as Jordy's mentions, it's hard to imagine how context could, save some of those messages from not being as scary as they are. And also, he does imply that some of them are real, not fabricated or anything. And as Jordy's mentions, any of those being real is probably enough of an indictment here, you would think. At least maybe enough to warrant, poking around a bit to see, what the fuck is going on. Now, Jordy's does go over one of the text chains here. Again, doesn't really seem like it's missing a whole lot of context, and something Jordy's also mentions, in order to fabricate something like this, it would take quite a bit. Now, Jordy's had released a video 3 weeks ago about the firebombing situation update, where that one arrest had been made, and Jordy's was going on about how it's very weird how some of these journalists, these ABC-affiliated journalists, have such deep access to these bad guys.
In response, Sneako has claimed that he and Fazal had this exchange. Ryan Sneako, we all sweet to do Ep 2, or has that issue with Shanks rattled ya? Jordy's and his people, their dogs, I want to kill him so bad. Ryan Sneako, are you f***ing serious? Over something you didn't do? Leave it. It's not your place. Mahmoud Fazal, bro, Alameddin still want to hit me. I need to make up to him with this pod and we will kill it. Better him than me, but f*** him. We should do a pod on that and get my story out. Just leave it. I'm not willing to speak about it because let's be real, you sent the f***ing threats. They f***ed you. Mahmoud Fazal. Nah, he has to get what he gets. He's a dog. Ratted me to Jax. Jax means police.
Well, that's not very good now, is it? Pardon my French, but this Fazal guy sounds like a real jerk. I know, I didn't mean to be so rude and nasty about it, but I mean, this is scary shit. I guess I'll give anybody the heebie-jeebies here. Because it's worth remembering that Fazal isn't just, a lone wolf kind of guy. He's not like a random journalist that has no ties to anyone or anything. This is a guy that's being defended by a major broadcasting network with some very seemingly close ties to a notable crime family. It's holding a lot of weight here. It's pretty terrifying stuff. But I think it's important we hear Fazal's side of things, because he has released an email here where he's calling into question the reliability of Nemenko as a source here for these claims.
Stating in an email to the Sydney Morning Herald, Ryan Nemenko has a criminal history, a history of harassment, and a documented record of dishonesty. As a journalist, you should know that background is material when assessing his reliability and motives as your source. How does he not see how hypocritical that is? Mahmoud, didn't you claim McClymont was relying on your background to stereotype you when she relied entirely on hard evidence for her claims? Now you're relying solely on Nemenko's background to refute text chains, some of which you yourself have tacitly admitted were real, just out of context. Again, how? What's the context in which any of this is okay? Please enlighten us. Plus, you have provided no hard evidence to the contrary, just Nemenko's background.
Whoa, pump the brakes, hold your horses, no hard evidence. Fazal provided the hardest evidence there is. He provided evidence harder than fucking tungsten. His word. And his word means everything. Didn't you read in the email where Fazal said that you can't trust Nemenko? And if Fazal doesn't trust him, then how am I supposed to trust him? Fazal has never given me any reason not to believe him at his word. Well, of course, other than that very clear, despicable hypocrisy that Jordy's pointed out, where when Fazal himself was faced with some very strong allegations with very strong evidence from a journalist, he claimed that it was all ethnic stereotyping, all about his background, so we have to just disregard it because it must be racist and nothing else. But now in this case, he wants to rely solely on Nemenko's background here, so that way we can write off all of those pesky text chains that are coming to light here. Text chains, by the way, that he himself has literally implied are authentic, and is trying to use the defense, the song and dance of, it's out of context. Would love to see this fabled context that Fazal speaks of here. Because I gotta tell you, sports fans, I can't quite think of anything that would make any of these text messages acceptable. All of this seems very highly illegal and extremely horrifying for Friendly Jordy's here and his safety. Him saying, no, some of it's fabricated, but then also it's out of context. There's clearly a clash there in those two statements. So, what, some of it's fake, but then some of it's real and out of context? I don't know, something's just not really adding up here. It's quite fishy.
Furthermore, if Nemenko is a liar, if he has, in your words, a criminal history, a history of harassment, and a documented record of dishonesty, why start a business with him? Why start a journalistic endeavour with him, where the sole purpose should be to expose the truth? But I guess if those character traits are good enough for the ABC, they're good enough for Fazal.
That part made me laugh. That's a really good point. Here's Fazal coming out saying, we can't fucking trust this guy. This guy isn't all horseradish. This guy's just a fucking baloney salesman. And then, if you stop for a second, the question would naturally pop in your head, well, if you feel that way about him, why the fuck did you go into business with him? Why would you go in a journalistic endeavor with this guy whom you're coming out and shitting on like the entire history of and everything that he ever has done and will ever do? Why would you be in business with him in that case? I don't know, Fazal. It definitely is very strange, isn't it? Quite peculiar.
Seriously, this really needs to be emphasised because this is so damning, not just for Zal, but the entire ABC as an institution. What is a Four Corners journalist doing passing on threats to other journalists and demanding cash from this person? And why did it take until now for the ABC to even acknowledge that that might be a problem?
That's a great question. I'd love to hear more from the ABC about that. That is very interesting. Why is that the case? Huh. Some real big food for thought, isn't it? Now I'm going to go ahead and stop playing clips from it here, but I do, like I said, highly recommend you watch the full thing, especially the ending. It is beautifully said by Jordy's at the end of this video. There is so much wrong here with this whole case. So many questions left unanswered, so many problems still present that are seemingly just being brushed to the side here from authorities. Something needs to change. Jordy's is in a legitimately very difficult situation where his life does appear to be in jeopardy from these horrible, scary people. And nothing seems to be being done about it. It doesn't seem like there's anything, any real action from the New South Wales Police Department here. It doesn't seem as though anything is actually being thoroughly investigated to try and protect Jordy's or his team in their reporting and their coverage over actual crime. That's an issue. That's a really big deal. And I'm really hoping for the safety of Jordy's and his whole team. They, like I've said for years, they do great fucking work. And the way that they are treated there by the powers that be is deplorable, downright evil. Anyway, though, like I said, I just wanted to blabber about this a bit. Please watch Jordy's full video on it. That's